Hey there guys, this is Richard, your host, with another marvelous video. Fasten your bat utility belts. A dark night, a family walking down a dimly lit alley, 2 gunshots, an orphan, a vow, a lifetime of training and war on crime. We're all familiar with the origin and the mythical lore of Batman, but what if the story had been a little different? What if it had happened in a different timeline? What if it didn't take place on this Earth at all, but in an entirely different universe? What if Bruce's parents were never killed at all? All these questions and possibilities have given birth to multiple versions and iterations of Bruce Wayne, aka Batman, over the years. An innumerable number of Batmen have infested the DC Metaverse, and they have their own stories to tell. So, my Bat Maniacs, spread your bat wings, carry your shark-repellent bat sprays, and hang on to your bat ropes. We're going to jump across multiple universes inside the DC Metaverse and discover every world that has a bat problem. Without further ado, to the Batcaves, Robins. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Batman, Bruce Wayne from Main Earth. Bruce Wayne, aka Batman, made his first appearance in DC Comics in Detective Comics issue number 27 on March 30th, 1939. He was created by the legendary writer-artist duo Bill Finger and Bob Kane. This story, The Case of the Chemical Syndicate, was set in Gotham City in the Main Earth of DC Metaverse. As the origin story goes, Bruce was returning from the movie screening of The Mark of Zorro from the Monarch Theatre. Accompanied by his father Thomas Wayne and mother Martha Wayne, they walked down the streets of Crime Alley, then known as Park Row. There, they were met by a thug named Joe Chill. Armed with a gun, Joe demanded Thomas's wallet and the pearls that Martha was wearing. When Thomas tried to resist, Joe shot him in the chest and Martha in the head, killing them instantly. Frightened by his own deed, Joe ran away. Bruce was left weeping in the alley with his dead parents. Since then, Bruce developed apathy toward crime. He left Gotham and traveled distances. He mastered himself in multiple forms of martial arts by training under various assassins and gurus. He trained under magicians at Tara to master the arts of theatricality and deception. When he believed that he'd learned much, he returned to Gotham and started patrolling the city under disguise. During one such night, he tried saving a girl from his pimp and started a fight. The police intervened and shot him in the shoulder. He escaped and came home and sat on his father's chair, slowly bleeding to death. But suddenly a bat crashed through his window and sat on his father's stone bust facing him. He took this as a sign from above, like a message from his father, to not end his life, but dedicate it to his war on crime. He took a vow. Yes, Father, I shall become a bat. And so started the mythical lore of Batman. Since then, Batman has been the savior of Gotham City and has his own family to guard Gotham against crime. His allies are Robin, Nightwing, Batgirl, Spoiler, Orphan, Signal, and the Commissioner of Police, Captain James Gordon. He's also one of the founding members of the Justice League and has worked till date with them as a protector of this world. Although he has no superpowers, he has the brilliant mind of a detective, the prowess of a scientist, the deception of a magician, and the fighting skills of a deadly martial artist. That makes him the most dangerous man on Earth. He has the entire Wayne fortune at his disposal, and he makes use of the R&D section of Wayne Corps to create cars, gadgets, and weapons that help him in his day-to-day crime fighting. He survived multiple crises, got his back broken by Bane, got lost in time even, but he's always come back whenever Gotham needed him. He held his strength amidst all odds, looked into the face of evil and said, "I am Batman." Every time, forever. Batman, Jean-Paul Valley Jr. from Main Earth. Jean-Paul Valley Jr. first appeared in Batman Sword of Azrael issue number 1 in October 1992. He was created by Denny O'Neil and Joe Quesada. As a child, he was artificially raised and brainwashed by the Order using a method only known as the System, which caused him to develop split personalities between his Jean-Paul identity and Azrael. He hailed from a long family line of assassin enforcers of the Order of St. Dumas, which was once a segment of the Knights Templar. When Bruce Wayne's back was broken by Bane during the Nightfall event, Bruce approached Jean-Paul to take up the mantle of Batman until he recovered. In his quest as Batman, the system kicked in and Jean-Paul turned extremely violent and started losing time. He built a bat armor that resembled Azrael, the avenging angel, and started terrorizing Gotham's underworld. Eventually, Bruce was revived and he came back and took the mantle back. Jean-Paul was rendered completely insane following that. Later, when his madness passed, he joined Batman as Azrael and fought alongside him. He has upgraded physiology, which gives him greater strength, speed, and endurance. He also possesses the ability to cause visions through touch. He's an expert assassin and a master of martial arts. He's technologically advanced and has prowess in medicines too. Batman Dick Grayson from Main Earth. Dick Grayson, formerly Batman's protege Robin and later his own man, Nightwing, had also taken up the mantle of Batman first during the Batman Prodigal storyline and then during the Batman and Robin run by Grant Morrison. He first donned the cape and cowl in Batman issue number 512 in November 1994. After Bruce came back and took the mantle back from the insane Jean-Paul Valley, Grayson took over so that Bruce can reconsider what it will take to regain his sense of invincibility. Dick worked towards restoring the faith of everyone who lost their hope in Batman while Jean-Paul took up the symbol. Dick fixed his worst error from his time serving as Robin when an oversight during a fight with Two-Face nearly killed Bruce and resulted in a man's death. He also began to understand how much of a physical and psychological strain Bruce put on himself by donning the Batsuit. In the end, Bruce came back for good. They had a father-to-son conversation and Bruce took back the mantle. Later, Bruce was lost in time after Final Crisis. A battle for this cowl happened. During the Battle for the Cowl event, every contender across Gotham tried to take over as Batman. However, it was Dick who defeated the villainous Jason Todd and assumed the mantle of Batman and started operating with Damien as Robin. When Bruce returned from the Omega Sanction, he took over the mantle from Dick. Batman Jason Todd from Main Earth. Jason Todd, the second Robin, also operated as Batman on Earth 15. This version of Jason Todd made his appearance in Batman issue number 357 as Batman 2. He was created by duo Jerry Conway and Don Newton. Here, Jason Todd was the lawful guardian of Earth 15. When Superman Prime attacked Earth 15, he first killed Donna Troy by smashing her head on her invisible jet. Indifferent to the enormous super strength of his opponent that Todd had just observed, Todd launched from his Batplane to engage the bloodthirsty Superman Prime. Todd was so furious at her death that he was on the verge of going insane. Todd tried to correct his error and recover by escaping the immense might of Superman Prime. Todd was choked by Superman Prime rather than letting him fall back to Earth 15's surface. Todd, who knew he was going to die, decided to use reverse psychology on Superman Prime by telling him that the people of Earth 15 would never accept him. Todd hoped that by doing this, Superman Prime would either stop attacking in order to figure out how to make the people of Earth 15 accept him, or at letting Todd to escape his range and recover. Todd's remarks didn't make Superman Prime calm down. Instead, they infuriated him to the point where he felt it would be better to destroy the entire world than to stay, since the people wouldn't accept him. Todd was entirely vaporized when Superman Prime flew into Earth 15's atmosphere at high speed. This version of Jason Todd had all the abilities of the original Todd and all of the original Batman's arsenal at his disposal. Batman Tim Drake from Main Earth. Timothy Drake, the third Robin to Batman in Main Earth, had an alternate version of himself on Earth 2, who donned the mantle of Batman. He first debuted in the New 52, Future's End issue number 2, and was created by the duo Marv Wolfman and Pat Broderick. Tim Drake, the captain of the Teen Titans, was known by the moniker Red Robin prior to the conflict between Prime Earth and Earth 2. However, following the Battle of Paris, he and his teammates were believed to be dead. Tim managed to live, and he used the alias Cal Corcoran and started a pub in New York City. Later, when Brainiac and Brother Eye attacked New York, he was propelled into action. Tim used Terry McGinnis' Batsuit to travel back in time and successfully prevent war with Earth 2. Terry McGinnis, the original Batman from the future, had died in this timeline. In the end, Tim decided to work as Batman to try to free his planet from Brother Eye. Tim Drake is a master of hand-to-hand combat. He's got brilliant investigative skills and also the technologically mastered Batsuit of McGinnis, which endows him with the power of flight and an array of weapons. Batman Damian Wayne from Deceased. In the alternate world of Deceased, Damian Wayne took up the mantle of Bat. He donned in the Batsuit in Deceased issue number 4. This series was written by Tom Taylor and drawn by Trevor Hairsine. In the alternate universe of Deceased, Darkseid abducted Cyborg in order to extract half of the anti-life equation from his techno-organic circuitry. Darkseid already possessed one half of the equation. He summoned Black Racer and forced out his essence of death in order to keep Cyborg alive during the extraction. Darkseid mixed the essence of death with his anti-life and injected it into Cyborg. The anti-life equation was corrupted and turned Darkseid into a raging, flesh-eating deadite. He jumped into Apocalypse's core and seemingly died and took the entire planet with himself. Victor escaped by booming himself to Earth. On arrival, he connected to all electronic devices and satellites via the internet, and the virus spread itself, turning all humans into enraged, flesh-eating deadites. Most of the major Justice League heroes died or turned into a deadite. John Kent, Damian Wayne, and the newly formed League eventually saved the world. Even Batman was infected. Before becoming the anti-living himself, Batman contacted Damien and Superman and told him to destroy all careers as well as the internet to expunge the infection. Then he turned into a deadite and attacked Alfred. Alfred killed Batman as well as Dick and Tim, who were also consumed by the infection. Alfred flew to Gotham and gave Damien his bat costume and said it was the last wish of Bruce for Damien to succeed him. Thus, Damien became the Batman of this universe. Damien is considered to be one of the greatest Batmen after Bruce because of his bloodline as well as his training under the League of Assassins that makes him one of the most dangerous men to don the cowl and cape. Batman Jace Fox from Main Earth. Timothy Jace Fox is the eldest son of Lucius Fox. He made his first appearance in Batman number 313 in April 1979. He was created by Len Wein and Irv Novick. Tim led an exhilarating lifestyle up until the age of 16, when he accidentally struck a guy while speeding. Tim fled from the man's side and went to his father, who used his influence to make Enrique Acevedo, the victim, appear as though he were wandering aimlessly across the street. This incident raised a moral dilemma in him, and he grew distant from Lucius. He was sent to Sanford Military Academy in order to be disciplined. There, he started going by the name Jace. He made the decision to skip going back to Gotham in favor of working as a secret agent, eliminating targets that the government could not stop, with Vol serving as his handler. He eventually got training from Katana, who served as his mentor at some point in this period. When Jace came home from a failed mission in Vietnam, Tanya and Luke were the only ones who were taken back because of what he'd done in the past. Jace took a job at Wayne Enterprises to investigate his target, Tyler Arcadine. There, he discovered that Bruce was Batman after finding a bat costume in the Hibernaculum. Jace made the Hibernaculum his covert headquarters and put on the armor to prevent Arcadine's soldiers from killing GCPD officers. After taking care of the criminals at Gotham, Jace moved to New York as the city's Batman. Jace is military trained and has got peak human conditioning. He's a brilliant spy and a tactical analyst, as well as a hand-to-hand combatant. Batman Year 100 from Main Earth. This was a miniseries written and illustrated by Paul Pope. It was released in 2006. The story is set in the year 2039, 100 years after the first appearance of Batman. Gotham had been turned into a police state and a fascist government had taken over. A distant descendant of Bruce Wayne took over the mantle of Batman and waged war against the government. Captain Gordon, the grandson of original Commissioner James Gordon, was in search of the Batman while investigating the murder of a federal agent. The Federal Police Corps was smuggling something into the city when Batman attacked. The courier was killed and Batman was shot. Batman's accomplices, Tora and Robin, helped him escape. Batman broke into the FPC headquarters and retrieved a porcelain tooth from the courier's mouth. Both Gordon and Batman investigated in parallel and found out that the entire coup was regarding a viral warfare weapon called the Flesh Killer, which the federal police smuggled into Gotham. It was the plan of federal agents Pravdska. The telepath agent Mercer helping Pravdska plan to double-cross him and keep the Flesh Killer all to himself. In the end, Batman and Gordon apprehended Pravdska and Mercer. Batman released the entire schematics on the Flesh Killer with Mercer's name on it over the internet. Thus, it had to be deactivated. Before he gassed Pravdska unconscious, Pravdska asked Batman who he was, and Batman said that Pravdska will never know. Batman of Zur-En-Arr from Main Earth. Batman of Zur-En-Arr made his first appearance in Batman issue number 113 in February 1958. He was created by writer-artist duo Franz Heron and Dick Sprang. To assist him in battling enormous robots controlled by an unknown alien species, Klano, the Batman from Zur-En-Arr, transported Batman from Earth to his planet. While on the planet, Earth's Batman learned that he possessed abilities like Superman by employing techniques used by the Superman of his world. To battle enormous alien-piloted robot invaders, the two Batmen band together. Upon victory, Bruce Wayne was given a device called Bat Radio device by the Batman of Zur-En-Arr as a memento before he departed for Earth. Whether Batman's adventure was a dream or a genuine one is unclear to the reader at the conclusion of the narrative. This narrative was used by writer Grant Morrison in his story Batman R.I.P. It was shown that on main Earth, the evil Dr. Simon Hurt held an isolation experiment simulated for astronauts where Batman willingly participated to test his mental strength. There, he was drugged and he went into a trance and repeated his father's last words. The sad thing is, they'd probably throw someone like Zorro in Arkham. The last 3 words came out as Zur and R. Simon used this phrase and created a post-hypnotic trigger that can expunge the Batman persona from Bruce and turn him into a vegetable. He took the help of the villainous team Black Glove, triggered Bruce with the phrase Zur and R, removed the Batman persona and sent Bruce into the streets of Gotham living as a hobo. But Hurt didn't know Batman's psyche used the phrase to render a new personality similar to Tolano. He hallucinated that Batmite was his counselor to keep him in check. The vibrant clothing conveyed a higher level of confidence and showed a greater desire to torment and possibly murder his adversaries. He was a Batman when you take Bruce out of the equation. As Batman of Zur-Anar, he defeated his adversaries and came out a winner, getting back his Bruce Wayne persona. Batman of Zur-Anar later appeared when a robot named Failsafe attacked Gotham and took out his friends. Unfortunately, he was defeated by the robot. Return of Bruce Wayne, Prehistoric Batman from main Earth. This Batman made his debut in Return of Bruce Wayne issue number 1 in 2010. It was written by Grant Morrison and illustrated by Chris Sprouse. It takes place on main Earth immediately after Final Crisis, when Darkseid hit Batman with his Omega Beam and sent him into the Omega Sanction. The first era in the Omega Sanction was the late Paleolithic era, where Bruce found himself stranded. Upon his arrival in this era, Bruce met a tribe who welcomed him and gave him food. They were ambushed by a group of Neanderthals led by immortal chief Vandal Savage. Bruce managed to save the boy of the tribe leader, but he himself was caught and tied up. Savage saw Bruce as a man-god who came from the skies to challenge him. Bruce was rescued by the boy, who gave him his utility belt back. Bruce donned the pelt of a giant bat and wore his belt and assumed the look of a prehistoric Batman. He impaled Savage with his grappling hook and rendered him unconscious. When the sun turned red, Bruce jumped into a waterfall and was pushed further in time. Return of Bruce Wayne, Witch Hunter Batman from main Earth. This Batman made his debut in Return of Bruce Wayne issue number 2 in 2010. It was written by Grant Morrison and illustrated by Fraser Irving. It takes place on main Earth immediately after Batman is pushed further from the prehistoric era to the Pilgrim era. When Batman came into this era, he was saved by a woman from drowning. A vicious Lovecraftian monster had followed him. He fought the monster with the lady, but blacked out. Upon regaining consciousness, Bruce came to know her name was Annie and formed a bond with her. She promised to love Bruce till the end of time. He tried to lead his life as one of the members in the small colony. He adopted the name Mordecai and joined the local witch-hunting community alongside his own ancestor, Nathaniel Wayne. Bruce employed his forensic expertise to investigate murders that may otherwise be attributed to witchcraft. The monster attacked again. While Bruce fought the monster, Nathaniel and his men apprehended Annie. They accused her of being a witch and claimed to have called the monster. While she was burned at the stake, she cursed Nathaniel and her bloodline. Bruce managed to slice up the monster and jumped into the waterfall again. He was again pushed further into the 18th century. Return of Bruce Wayne, Pirate Batman from main Earth. The Pirate Batman made his debut in Return of Bruce Wayne issue number 3 in 2010. It was written by Grant Morrison and illustrated by Yannick Paquette. It takes place on main Earth immediately after Batman arrives in the 18th century from the Pilgrim era. Bruce found himself on the shore and the legendary pirate Blackbeard was standing in front of him. Blackbeard mistook Bruce for the famous Black Pirate. He ordered Bruce to bring him the treasure of the Miaganis. The Miaganis were bat people who descended from the tribe Bruce met in the Paleolithic era. Bruce learned that Jack Loggins, another Blackbeard captive, was the Black Pirate's grandson. Jack assisted Bruce in staging a ruse that eliminated Blackbeard and all but one member of his crew. With the help of Jack, the Miagani then led Bruce to their cave's lowest chamber, where he discovered his own cloak and cowl, which had been put there upon his arrival in prehistory. Bruce remembered everything, but he knew this memory was fading away. He gave Jack the assignment to write a memoir of what happened and put it in a box with a bat symbol so that it can be given to the Waynes. Bruce disappeared at sunrise and was pushed further into the time stream to the wild, wild west. Return of Bruce Wayne, Gunslinger Batman from main Earth. This Batman first appeared in Return of Bruce Wayne issue number 4 in 2010. It was written by Grant Morrison and illustrated by Georges Gentil. It takes place on main Earth in the 19th century, immediately after Batman is pushed further from the 18th century. While maintaining a no murdering and no firearms policy, Bruce created an image of himself as a masked gunfighter, focusing on Vandal Savage's activities. While planning to steal the box from the Wayne family, Savage teamed up with another of Wayne's descendants, cultist Thomas Wayne, who was actually Simon Hurt. Savage then hired bounty hunter Jonah Hex to deal with Bruce. After saving the current owner of the box from the bad guys and having him acknowledge him as the box's rightful owner, Bruce found Jack Valor's journal inside. However, after being shot by Jonah Hex, Bruce was thrown off a dock into the waters of what will one day become Gotham Bay. Bruce's ancestors built Wayne Manor on a neighboring cliffside and concealed the box in the caves under it. These were the same caves that the Miaganis occupied. Bruce was thrown further in time to the 20th century. Return of Bruce Wayne, personal investigator Batman from Main Earth. This Batman first appeared in Return of Bruce Wayne issue number 5 in 2010. It was written by Grant Morrison and illustrated by Georges Jeanty. It takes place on Main Earth in the 20th century, immediately after Batman is pushed further from the Wild West. It was the 1930s. Bruce reappeared after being shot and was taken to the hospital to recover. There, he met Marcia. Bruce actually came to Gotham not long after his own parents passed away. His mother's friend Marcia thought Thomas Wayne, his father, had murdered Martha and then staged his own demise. Bruce was recruited by her to look into her theories. She was tracked by a suspicious Bruce at a cemetery, where it was discovered that she belonged to the Black Glove cult, which worshipped the devil. They wanted to offer Bruce as a sacrifice to the immortal bat god Barbatos. Professor Carter Nichols' time machine was used in the ritual. Bruce, however, interfered with the proceedings by snatching the device and once more traveling across time. Batman from Stan Lee's Just Imagine world. This version of the Batman made his debut in Just Imagine, Stan Lee with Joe Kubert creating Batman in October 2001. Instead of being Caucasian, Wayne Williams was an accomplished African-American. He had a sizable personal fortune and was in great physical shape. Due to his affluence, he had access to specialized tools like night vision goggles, a Kevlar outfit, sensors that amplified sound, and a wingsuit-like cape for gliding. Wayne's father was a policeman. He was ambushed and killed. Wayne promised revenge on the gang boss Hans when Hans had him falsely accused of a crime. Wayne made a comrade in prison named Frederick Grant, a scientist who taught him sewing and bodybuilding, as well as how to expand his mind. Wayne learned that his mother died while he was in jail, and his rage against Hans grew. He received a full pardon for saving the jail warden during a riot. Williams became a wrestler using the alias Batman because he needed money. He never revealed his true identity in public. Batman achieved enormous wealth and rose to wrestling stardom in a matter of weeks. He worked with Grant and posed as his bodyguard. Batman later fought Hans, where Hans was killed accidentally. With his thirst for vengeance quenched, he decided to fight crime as Batman. Owlman from Earth 3. Thomas Wayne Jr., aka Owlman, first appeared in Justice League Volume 2, issue number 23, in October 2013. He was created by Jeff Johns and Ivan Rice. Thomas Wayne Jr. was the oldest child of Thomas Wayne Sr. and Martha Wayne, one of Gotham's wealthiest families. Thomas decided to kill his parents because he thought they were mismanaging their fortune. He first made an effort to persuade his younger brother Bruce to assist him. Bruce hesitated and tried to talk Thomas out of the murders when the opportunity presented itself. Thomas killed Bruce while his butler and servant Alfred killed their parents because he saw this as a show of weakness. Though it was his own doing, Thomas was extremely upset by Bruce's passing because Bruce was the one he loved the most. Thomas started to use the Owlman persona to establish his dominion over Gotham. He blackmailed, threatened, and bought off every major person in Gotham until the city was effectively his, using this disguised identity to terrorize his enemies. He understood that in order for regular people to have power, those people must first acquire it through systems of order. Thus, he sought to create and uphold those systems through fear. Despite his great strength, a hole remained in his heart where his brother's affection had previously been. It was he who murdered Richard Grayson's parents and used his trauma to influence him into becoming his sidekick. Thomas has genius-level intellect and is a master of martial arts. He is adept in intimidation through blackmail and is a master strategist. Also, he has his wealth, which he uses to build himself a plethora of weapons in order to fight his adversaries. Batman in The Gift from Main Earth. We get to see an alternate version of Batman in the storyline, The Gift. It went from Batman Volume 3, issue number 45 to 47. This event takes place on Main Earth. Booster Gold wanted to give Batman the perfect gift for his wedding with Catwoman, so he went back in time and saved his parents. When he came back, he saw a crime-ridden Gotham City where Dick Grayson is a cold-hearted Batman who kills his victims. He found that Bruce hated the vigilante Catwoman and Batman and was content in his life with his parents and didn't give any thoughts about what was going on in Gotham. When Booster divulged the truth to him, Bruce destroyed Skeets and Booster was stuck in his timeline. Even when Bruce had an inkling that something was wrong with his timeline, he was happy and that was all that mattered to him. Booster freed Selina from Arkham and planned to bring her to Bruce so that Bruce remembered his love for her. But when he took Catwoman to Bruce, she killed Thomas. Dick Grayson, the Batman, tracked Booster and jumped into the fight, killing Martha and Catwoman. Bruce took the gun and killed Dick. Then he worked with Booster for a year and restored Skeets. They traveled back in time to the night of Bruce's parents' death. At that point, Booster's past self, who wanted to stop his parents' murder, teleported there. In an altercation, the future Booster made Bruce shoot his past self, thus letting the Wayne murders take place. The older Bruce shot himself out of grief, and the time anomaly ended. Bruce's parents were murdered, and he grew up to be the Batman, and the normal course followed. Bizarro Batman from Bizarro World. The Bizarro Batman made his first appearance in DC Comics World's Finest issue number 156 in March 1966. In order to fill in for a missing Batman and Superman, Bizarro number 1 developed a Bizarro Batman, and the two collaborated and traveled to Earth together. The actual heroes return after the Bizarros have wreaked enough damage in both Metropolis and Gotham City, and they try to put an end to their strange counterparts by presenting them with some of their earlier cases. The Bizarros freed Joker from jail since they believe he didn't belong there. The Bizarros agreed to accompany the Joker on his criminal spree, but they later had a change of heart after witnessing him steal priceless jewels, which they viewed as mere trash. So the Bizarros returned him to the authorities. The real heroes made the decision to carry out the same strategy on Bizarro World while the Bizarros continued their bizarre mission. When Batman and Superman arrived on their square planet, they immediately began straightening every crooked corner and building a flawless city. Batman contacted Robin on Earth and ordered him to use a special projector to show the Bizarros what they've been up to. The Bizarros resolved to return to their home world to change everything back to how it was. After learning of Batman and Superman's crimes, they vowed to stay there in order to stop any other offenders from fixing their world. Bizarro Batman has all the powers of Bizarro Superman, but has an inverted sense of thought and speech. Batmite from the Fifth Dimension. Batmite first debuted in Detective Comics issue number 267 in May 1959. The title of the story was Batman Meets Batmite and was written by Bill Finger with illustrations by Sheldon Moldoff. Similar to the Superman villain, Mr. Mxyzptlk, Batmite is an imp from the Fifth Dimension. Batmite is portrayed as a small, childlike man wearing an ill-fitting Batman costume. Although he appears to have nearly limitless magical powers, in reality, he uses highly developed technology from the Fifth Dimension that is incomprehensible to humans due to their limited understanding of 3 dimensions. Unlike Mxyzptlk, Batmite idolizes his superhero Batman, and as a result, he frequently visits Batman, staging absurd antics so that he may witness his hero in action. As a nuisance rather than a supervillain, Batmite frequently leaves on his own initiative after realizing he's offended his hero. He's able to alter reality and change the size of any object. He can grant superpowers to anyone. He can shoot electricity from his fingers, and above all, he's immortal.
He's probably already dead.
Then so are you.
Batman from Flashpoint universe. This version of Batman made his debut in Flashpoint issue number 1 in July 2011. He was created by Jeff Johns, Andy Kubert, Brian Azzarello, and Eduardo Risso. When Barry Allen ran into the past to save his mother from being murdered by the evil Eobard Thawne, he caused a flashpoint, changing existence and creating a new world. In this world, Bruce Wayne was killed by Joe Chill. In their grief and desperation, Dr. Thomas Wayne became the murdering vigilante Batman, and Martha Wayne turned into an insane child killer, Joker. Thomas was contacted by Barry Allen, who told him the reason his Flashpoint world existed. He asked for Thomas's help. Thomas decided to help, but only on the condition that Bruce should live in the restored world. Meanwhile, Martha murdered Dent's kids and killed one of them along with Gordon. Thomas pleaded with her to stop and tell her that Bruce can't be brought back. Martha was pacified, but when she learned that in the restored world Bruce became Batman, she ran in a fit of hysteria and fell into the Batcave and seemingly died. Thomas then killed Thawne and helped Barry in restoring the Earth and died in the final Flashpoint battle when the new 52 Earth was born. During the Convergence event, the Flashpoint world was restored and miniaturized by an alternate version, Brainiac. Thomas Wayne helped Superman in the pre-New 52 era with the birth of his child, John. This Superman would later become the main Superman of New Earth during the Rebirth event. Bruce met Thomas's Batman again when he time-traveled to the Flashpoint Earth following the Reverse Flash, tracking the energy of comedians Button from Watchmen. There, Thomas fought alongside Bruce and sacrificed himself to hold off Amazonian and Atlantean assassins. He was seemingly rescued by the Reverse Flash and he came to Main Earth, where he helped Bane in breaking Bruce mentally and physically, so that he gave up being Batman. Bruce finally defeated Thomas and imprisoned him. During the Infinite Frontier event, Thomas was broken free by Extract, and he helped an alternate Superman, Calvin, to take down the villain Machine Head. During Flashpoint Beyond, Bruce made an attempt to stabilize the Flashpoint world. The Flashpoint world was actually crumbling since Thomas thought it was destined to be destroyed. Martha was alive and she wanted to use Rip Hunter's time sphere to save Bruce. In the end, Thomas and Martha reconciled that the world was better without Bruce and saved Dent's son Dexter from his murderous wife, Gilda. Martha was tended to in the Batcave, while Dexter became the new Robin. Thomas's Batman is a renowned doctor and adept with guns and sword fighting. He's brutal in his ways and has never shied away from killing his opponents. Russian anarchist Batman from Earth 30. The Batman from Russia made his first appearance in Superman, Red Sun #1 in June 2003. He was created by Mark Miller and Dave Johnson. On Earth 30, Stalin's police force gunned down a little boy's parents. The boy vowed revenge against the police leader Pyotr Rozlov. He grew up to become an anarchist and operated as Batman 20 years later. Batman was the most wanted man in the Soviet Union and a persistent pain in the neck of the Russian government. He personally carried out a number of terrorist attacks against the Superman administration while deftly avoiding capture by Roslov security forces each time. He was termed to be immortal and the ghosts of 1,000 dead dissidents who came back to wreak havoc on Superman's communist utopia. He became a legend to his rival, Superman. Batman believed that if he could get Superman out of the equation, then his vendetta against Roslov was easily attainable. So he incapacitated Wonder Woman with her own lasso and lured Superman into a deserted area. He simulated red sunlight to weaken Superman, but Wonder Woman broke the red sun lamps after escaping. When cornered, Bruce refused to surrender and be tortured. He gave Roslov's plans to Superman and detonated a bomb inside his body, committing suicide. His mantle was later taken up by the Batman cult, who fought crime in the streets of Moscow with Luthor's help. This Batman was a master tactical analyst and a hand-to-hand combatant. He was a brilliant spy and an intelligent demolitions expert. Batman Incorporated, the Batman of Japan from Main Earth. On Main Earth, when Batman returned from the Omega Sanction, he gathered a team of Batmen all across the world as a contingency plan to keep the world safe in his own absence. He nicknamed the team Batman Incorporated and funded it as Bruce Wayne. The team was first mentioned in Batman and Robin issue number 16 in November 2010. One of the earliest members of the team was Mr. Unknown, the Batman of Japan. Prior to his passing, the hero was too elderly and mostly focused on investigative work, while his sidekick Jiro Osamu assumed responsibility for the role on the streets. Jiro was sworn in as the new Batman of Japan and took up the mantle in order to get revenge on his mentor. Batman Incorporated, the Batman of Argentina from Main Earth. The next member was Santiago Vargas, aka El Gaucho, the Batman of Argentina. He was an Argentinian crime fighter who drew inspiration from the Batman mythos. He had previously worked as a covert operative for Spiral. He began his superhero career as a member of the Batman of all nations, but eventually went solo and established a name for himself. Batman Incorporated, the Batman of Britain from Main Earth. Another member of the team was the Hood, Batman of Britain. He was a British super spy who adopted the same approach to battling crime as Robin Hood. He was actually sent to infiltrate Batman Incorporated. Batman Incorporated, the Batman of England from Main Earth. The other members of the team were Knight and Squire, the Batman and Robin of England. They belonged to the Club of Heroes, which subsequently evolved into Batman Incorporated. Percy Sheldrake was the first Knight, and his son Cyril Sheldrake was the first Squire. Cyril took over as the new Knight when Spring-Heeled Jack killed Percy, and Beryl Hutchinson served as his Squire. Beryl later became the Knight when the Heretic killed Cyril. Batman Incorporated, the Batman of Paris from Main Earth. All of these Batmen teamed up with Bilal Asalar, aka Night Runner, the Batman of Paris. In order to protect his city from disorder and civil strife, Bilal started his parkour training in remembrance of his buddy Arif, who was murdered during a police skirmish. Bilal then adopted the vigilante alias Night Runner. The Batman Incorporated team thwarted the plans of the immortal villain Lord Deathman and later helped Batman take down Leviathan. Detective Comics number 500, To Kill a Legend. Detective Comics number 500 was released in March 1981. It featured a story called To Kill a Legend. It was about Batman of Main Earth traveling to an alternate Earth and visiting a new version of himself. This story was written by Alan Brennett and drawn by Dick Giordano. Phantom Stranger transported Batman and Robin to an alternate Earth to demonstrate what would happen if the Waynes hadn't been killed. They found an alternate version of Bruce on that Earth, who was a noisy, spoiled rich kid. The Waynes were still alive, and Batman wanted to keep it that way. He had a moral conflict with Robin, who believed that Bruce won't become Batman if his parents' death would not serve as a catalyst, and that the world needed a Batman. Batman investigated Joe Chill, but found his boss Lou Moxon instead, and questioned him. An alerted Moxon decided to kill both Chill and the Waynes in case his plan got thwarted. Batman took the help of Gordon and found Chill almost beaten to death by Moxon's thugs. Batman then deduced that it was that night when his parents would be shot. He rushed to Crime Alley with Robin and stopped Moxon's goons from killing Thomas Wayne in front of the alternate Bruce. Phantom Stranger returned the heroes to their home world. The kid Bruce from the alternate universe was inspired by the bat creature that saved him and his family. He became disciplined and well-behaved, and affectionate toward his parents. He started reading books on criminology and books on Sherlock Holmes, so that he can one day become the Batman.
Everything the Justice League stands for. Everything you stand for. We were wrong.
Injustice, Gods Among Us. Batman is the main protagonist of the Injustice Gods Among Us series. The series was released in March 2013. In this alternate universe, everything is as similar to the main Earth as it can be. But Superman's pregnant wife Lois was kidnapped by the Joker and Jimmy Olsen was killed. When Superman tracked them down, he faced Doomsday there. It was actually Superman's hallucination of Doomsday from inhaling Scarecrow's fear gas laced with kryptonite. It was his wife Lois in place of Doomsday. Not knowing this, he pushed Lois into space. Then he came to his senses and realized that Lois had stopped breathing, so had his unborn child. He brought Lois's body back to Earth and was devastated by the grief. What he didn't know was there was an atomic bomb connected to Lois's heart. When her heart stopped, the bomb exploded, taking the whole of Metropolis with it. Superman became mad with anger and dove his fist through Joker's chest and killed him. Then he became a tyrant leader and tried to bring the entire world under his strict leash so that there would be no more crime. Batman was the one who started a resistance against Superman. Dick and Alfred stayed with Batman, while Damien, Wonder Woman, Flash and many other heroes joined Superman's army. Then in a fight between Damien and Dick, Dick lost his life. He was later resurrected as Deadman. Batman coveted a drug from Lex Luthor that temporarily gave Superman-like powers to humans. With that drug and with a number of other superheroes by his side, he fought Superman for 6 long years. In the end, Batman and Luthor connect to the Justice League of Main Earth, and the evil Superman is stopped by the Main Earth's Superman. This version of Batman has got completely similar powers and abilities as the Main Earth's. Batman Digital Justice. Batman Digital Justice is a graphic novel that was written and illustrated by Pepe Marino using computerized paintings. It was released in 1990. Long after the first Batman has died, we see a futuristic Gotham City in the 21st century that is ruled by advanced technology, primarily computer networks and their human controllers. The Joker, a long-gone computer virus, became the first digital dictator and was in charge. The virus had access to various vehicles and armed computers, which it used to wreak havoc in contemporary Gotham City. James Gordon II, a member of the GCPD and the grandson of the illustrious Commissioner Gordon, was unable to stop the virus from killing his colleague Lena Schwartz. He remembered his grandfather sharing the lore of the mythical Batman with him. He then received a note and a batsuit from Bruce. Gordon donned the mantle of Batman and waged his war against the computer virus. He had assistance from Alfred the Robot and the Batcomp, a self-sentient computer created by the late Bruce Wayne. He was joined by a teenage punk kid Robin and rockstar Gator, who became Catwoman. In the final battle, Madam X, who was Joker's ally, captured all of them and transferred their consciousness into the digital world. The Joker virus tried to remove all traces of Batman in that world, but the Alfred Robot restored Batman's memory. This caused a feedback and destroyed the entire Joker database along with the Joker virus. Madam X was killed and the heroes resumed their duty to create and maintain a balance between the real and the digital world. The Bat, Earth 40. This version of Batman made his debut in JSA, the Liberty File issue number 1, in February 2000. He was created by Dan Jolley and Tony Harris. As one of the Unholy Three, the Bat served as a government agent during the Second World War. After seeing his parents die as a young child, Bruce Wayne transformed into the Bat and fought with other masked heroes for the American government during the Second World War. After the battle was over, the Bat battled criminals in Gotham City. During the Countdown Arena event, Monarch coerced the Bat into joining his selected strike team in his conflict with the Monitors. the Bat was compelled to engage in combat with the vampire Batman of Earth 43 and the Batman of Earth 19. He was bitten by the vampire during the battle, and Monarch's disposal team first believed him to be dead until he turned into a vampire and killed them. He's a master spy and recon man. Together with that, he's also a master of Japanese martial arts, mostly Shotokan, Uechi-ryu, and Jiu-Jitsu. Batman Earth 2. There are two versions of Earth 2 Batman. The first one was Bruce Wayne in the pre-Flashpoint era. He first appeared in Justice League of America issue number 82 in 1970 and was created by Dennis O'Neil and Dick Dillon. The second Earth 2 Batman was Thomas Wayne, who made his first appearance in Earth 2 Annual issue number 1 in July 2013. He was created by James Robinson and Carlos Urbano. The first Earth 2 Batman, Bruce Wayne, had a history same as the Batman of Main Earth, with just one difference: the timeline in which he operated as Batman. He made his first appearance on Earth 2 in 1939. When he was a kid, his father Thomas was gunned down by Joe Chill. His mother died of a heart attack following that. He was brought up by Philip Wayne, Thomas's brother. While operating as Batman, he joined the Justice Society of America. This version of Batman died in 1979. In 2011, when the New 52 Earth was created, there were 3 Batmen on Earth 2. Bruce Wayne was the first Batman, and his father, Thomas Wayne, was a corrupt doctor working for the Mafia. Thomas staged his own death and went into hiding. But when he watched his son killed in battle with the forces of Apocalypse, he was heartbroken. He decided to continue his son's quest for justice and became the new Batman. He later sacrificed his life while saving his Earth from sinister forces, and Dick Grayson became the third Batman. Batman Earth 51. This version of Batman debuted in Countdown to Final Crisis issue number 16 in January 2008. It was written by Paul Dini, Tony Bedard, and Keith Giffen, and drawn by Pete Woods and Tom Derenick. On this Earth, Bruce Wayne's history was similar to the Batman of Main Earth until Jason Todd was killed by Joker. An enraged Batman tracked him down and killed him. This incident motivated him to hunt down and defeat supervillains, and thanks to his keen strategic sense, he succeeded where so many other heroes had fallen short. Unaware of what he was doing, the other superheroes responded to the disappearance of their foes by coming out with their identities and winning over the people. Batman prepared his clandestine war against the invaders from his Bat bunker under Gotham City when Monarch and his multi-dimensional armies attacked Earth 51 and massacred many of its heroes. He met Jason Todd from Main Earth while Jason was working with the Challengers. Bruce helped him escape from Gorgon. He did a DNA test on Jason and understood that he was the same person, just from another Earth. He teamed up with Jason, who took up the moniker Red Robin and went into battle with Monarch. They rescued Monitor from the clutches of Monarch. But when Bruce saw an alternate version of Joker, he couldn't keep his rage in check and attacked him. However, Ultraman stopped him and killed him instantly. This version of Batman had all the prowess and abilities of Batman. Multiversity Guidebook, Iron Batman. The Multiversity Guidebook Volume 1 issue number 1 was released in March 2015. It was written by Grant Morrison and drawn by an array of artists. The Iron Batman was from Earth 44. Iron Batman was corrupted by the dark energies of the aliens from the dark multiverse who invaded the actual multiverse, causing his Metal League comrades to battle him. Iron Batman and the Metal League refused to support Perpetua during the Justice Doom War, instead facing out against her apex predators. They lost their planet along with it, although they likely came back after the multiverse was fixed. Multiversity Guidebook, Stingray. Stingray was the Batman from Earth 34. After his parents passed away, Bruce Wayne was moved to become Stingray, an aquatic anti-evil slayer who subsequently joined the Light Brigade. Multiversity Guidebook, The Owl. The Owl is the Batman from Earth 35. After his parents passed away, this Bruce Wayne was motivated to become the Owl, a scourge of crime who subsequently joined the Super Americans. The Owl was created as homage to Professor Knight of Awesome Comics, a parody of Batman created by Alan Moore for his time on Supreme. Multiversity Guidebook, Batmouse. The Batmouse was the Batman of Earth 26, and Lil Batman was from Earth 42. When Lil Bruce Wayne of Earth 42 died, Lil Dick Grayson became the Earth's Batman. Elseworlds Batman, Gotham by Gaslight. The Elseworlds imprint was a line under the DC Comics that told us stories that happened in different universes. It was the first line to market multiverse characters in their standalone stories. And who better to start it with than our most favorite hero, Batman. Gotham by Gaslight was the first Elseworlds story and was written by Brian Augustyn, drawn by Mike Mignola, and colored by P. Craig Russell. It was released in February 1989. This story takes place in the 19th century. One night, Bruce was heading home with his parents after an evening in town when their coach was stopped by a man with guns. The man shot and killed his parents, but the sound of the gun brought forth a plethora of bats, which attacked the unknown assailant, and he fled the scene. Bruce eventually left Gotham to train himself. While he was a student of Dr. Sigmund Freud in Europe, he started having nightmares involving his parents' murders. Believing this to be a calling, he decided to travel back to Gotham to put his long training to use. On his way home, he met a family friend, Jacob Parker, whom he called Uncle Jake. He immediately met Inspector Gordon, analyzed the entire scenario in Gotham, put on the garb of Batman, and started fighting crime. However, the entire city went into shock when prostitutes all across Gotham started getting murdered. And then the letters addressed to Gordon started pouring in, signed Jack the Ripper. Bruce was framed for the crimes when a bloody knife was found in his manor and was jailed. He continued his investigation on the killings from Arkham Asylum when he discovered that the knife belonged to his father. He deduced from an old photograph that Uncle Jake was indeed the killer. Bruce escaped Arkham with the help of Alfred and chased Jake to his parents' grave. Jake confessed that he hired the man who killed the Waynes and he was the Ripper himself. He tried to attack Bruce, but was gunned down by Gordon. Gordon was convinced that Gotham had found a guardian angel in Batman, so he let him leave. Elseworlds Batman, Holy Terror. Batman Holy Terror was the first Elseworlds story to actually receive an Elseworlds logo. It was written by Alan Brennett and illustrated by the legendary Norm Breyfogle. The story is set in the 20th century, where the United States was run by a theocratic government. Physician to the Privy Council, Thomas Wayne and his wife Martha were gunned down by Joseph Chill and left to die. Bruce survived, but was scarred for life. He found his calling in God. 22 years later, chaos was at large in the entire world. Anyone who went against the government was systematically removed or killed. Bruce wanted to join the clergy, when Gordon revealed that the Privy Council themselves set up Joseph to kill Thomas. This was because the council was involved in counter-reproductive activities that experimented on human beings to turn them to meta. In the process, many have lost their lives. Thomas wanted to reveal the truth to the public, so he was assassinated with Martha. Bruce later joined the clergy and promised his eternal service to God. He later donned the bat costume that his father once wore to play a demon in a church play, and he went to hunt the council members as the Batman. He learnt of the Star Chamber from his father's colleague Charles McNider. The meta-experiments were being conducted there. He sneaked his way into the Star Chamber using Reverend Judson's ID. There, he found several test subjects like Barry Allen and Arthur Curry, who were getting experimented on to turn them into meta-puppets of the council. Barry told him that the experiments were led by an evil Dr. Saul Erdel. While making their way to Erdel, they were attacked by Zatanna, who was dubbed as a witch working for the council. Batman subdued the witch and they faced Erdel. When Barry ran at Erdel in anger, Erdel killed him by remotely incinerating him by switching off his aura and burning up his body with friction. Erdel showed him the body of Superman, whom he killed with kryptonite as he was becoming rebellious. Losing all hope and getting angry, Bruce fought Erdel and Clayface. He killed Clayface by freezing him with liquid nitrogen. Erdel fired at Batman, but the bullet hit Superman's body and ricocheted and hit him back, killing him. Batman then met and warned the council that he will continue his fight against the council and bring the council down. A god-man by day, a creature of dark by night, Bruce continued his war against crime. Elseworlds Batman, the Blue, the Grey, and the Bat. In this next Elseworlds story, we see a Lone Ranger-ish avatar of Batman. The story was written by Elliot S. Magin and Alan Weiss and drawn by Jose Luis Garcia Lopez. It was released in 1993. Abraham Lincoln summoned Lieutenant Colonel Bruce Wayne, aka the Batman of the 13th Massachusetts Cavalry. He told Batman to travel to Nevada and secure millions worth of gold and silver, the greatest source of wealth for the generation for the forces in the Union. Bruce and Alfred traveled to Nevada and allied with his friend Redbird of the Indians. Together, they thwarted an attack from cowboys and saved the beautiful Margaret Baronsaver and her aunt Mary Louise Pilchard. Bruce later met a Western legend, James Butler Hickok, and allied with him for the Union. Hickok introduced Bruce to a bunch of escaped slaves and dubbed them his Dark Knights. Bruce declared them as free men as they were serving the Union. They worked together to set up a systematic disruption in the illicit operations in the mining area that caught the notice of the villainous Bloody Bob Armstrong. Batman tried to reason with Bloody Bob, but that resulted in a full-blown war. Redbird killed Bloody Bob when he discovered that Bob killed his parents. It was later revealed that Margaret and Mary set up this coup and were escaping with the riches. Batman stopped them, but was attacked by an army of lancers. They shot and killed his horse, Apocalypse. Batman started shooting at them out of rage, but couldn't hold them off when Redbird arrived with the cavalry of 900 soldiers, courtesy of Colonel Kit Carson. They managed to overpower the lancers and get the riches. Margaret and Mary were taken into custody, and Batman rode off into the sun. Elseworlds Batman Vampire. In Elseworlds, we also get to see a vampire variant of Batman. The story was released in the form of a trilogy during the years 1991 to 1998. All the 3 books were written by Doug Munch and drawn by Kelly Jones. In Batman and Dracula, Red Rain, we get to see Batman investigating murders all across Gotham who had their throats slashed and blood sucked dry. One such night, he faced a vampire who overpowered him and fled. He visited Dr. Ariani and learned all there is to learn about vampires. Meanwhile, it was revealed that it was Dracula and his minions who were murdering people and turning them to bloodsuckers. Batman later met Tanya, the vampire lady who visited him at night during his sleep. She was actually turning him into a vampire over the past month. Tanya and her team of vampire killers wanted to kill Dracula, and they wanted Bruce on their side. Batman now had the power of vampires. Tanya and Batman finally met Dracula's minions and killed them all, but Tanya died defeating the last minion. Batman, now a vampire, faced off with Dracula and fought him mid-air. In the end, Dracula was impaled on a broken utility pole and killed, but not before draining all the blood from Batman. Batman becomes a full-fledged vampire from that point. He later joined forces with Gordon, Alfred, and Catwoman to kill a vampire cult led by the Joker in the story Batman Bloodstorm. In the final battle, Catwoman was killed, and Batman went completely berserk and sucked Joker dry. He lost all of his humanity. He finally asked Alfred to stake him through his heart so that he can't murder any more people. In the next book, Batman Crimson Mist, Alfred brought Batman back by removing the stake as he wanted Batman to save Gotham from the uprising crime wave. Batman, now an animalistic vampire, killed off almost all criminals in and out of Arkham, and himself became an unstoppable killing force. In the end, while fighting Two-Face's forces, he was injured fatally. Alfred sacrificed his life to give Batman the final fighting strength. Batman killed all the villains brutally, but Gordon also died in the fight. In the end, when there was no one left, Batman walked off into the sunlight and disintegrated himself into dust, finding peace in death. Elseworlds Batman in Darkest Night. This Elseworlds story was written by Mike W. Barr and drawn by Jerry Bingham and was released in 1994. On Earth 32, the dying Green Lantern, Abin Sur, contacted Bruce Wayne instead of Hal Jordan and gave him his Green Lantern ring. When Bruce became a Green Lantern, he first stopped the Red Hood gang at the Ace chemical plant, thus preventing the Joker from ever being born. Later, the Guardians of the Universe assigned Bruce to bring in the power-hungry tyrant, Sinestro, who was using his ring to benefit himself. Bruce defeated Sinestro and banished him to the planet Quard. He gave Sinestro's ring to Katma Tui, who he thought would do justice as a Green Lantern. Sinestro connived with the weaponers of Quard and built a yellow ring for himself. He came to Earth and absorbed the mind of Joe Chill, the man who killed Batman's parents. Batman fought Sinestro, who was now sporting a dual consciousness, one of himself and one of Chill. He managed to defeat Sinestro and drive him off the planet. But cunning as Sinestro was, he convinced the Guardians that Bruce was not the right person to wield a power ring. The Guardians gave 3 other power rings to 3 worthy Earth dwellers: Queen Hippolyta, Clark Kent, and Barry Allen. Those 3 new lanterns were accompanied by Katma Tui, and they attacked Batman. In the meantime, Sinestro attacked the Batcave and killed Alfred. Sensing something is wrong, all the 4 Green Lanterns rushed to the cave and fought off Sinestro's armies, but Sinestro escaped. The Lanterns later apologized to Batman and asked him to train them, but Bruce declined and asked them to protect Earth from the likes of Sinestro. Then he started his quest to hunt Sinestro down, reciting his unique oath: with signal green come darkest night, that superstitious, fearful might. Beware the creature of the night, the weird Avenger, blazing bright. He later made his appearance in the Multiversity issue number 1 in October 2014. Elseworlds Superman, Speeding Bullets. This Elseworlds story shows us what would have happened if Kal-El had become Batman. This story was written by J.M. DeMatteis and drawn by Eduardo Barrito, and was released in 1993. In this story, Kal-El, rocketed from the planet Krypton, crash-landed in Gotham. Thomas and Martha Wayne found his ship and adopted him, naming him Bruce. The night Thomas and Martha were killed by Joe Chill, Bruce went out of control and incinerated Chill with his heat vision. Driven by anxiety, fear, and grief, he hid himself in the caves below the manor in seclusion. One day, when robbers attacked the manor, Bruce used his powers to save Alfred. He learnt of his alien origin when Alfred showed him the rocket ship in which he arrived on Earth. Bruce found his calling and took over the control of Wayne Corporations from Lex Luthor, who was trying to take it over. During the night, he fought crime as Batman. Later, Bruce was heavily criticized by Lois Lane when he savagely beat up a few thugs while saving Lois from them. Later, Lois was kidnapped by Luthor, who was driven insane and transformed into the Joker with white screen and green hair from an accident. Batman battled Luthor and his army and successfully stopped him. When Lois convinced Bruce that he had to turn into a symbol of hope rather than fear, Bruce took up a new moniker to protect the world: Superman. Elseworlds Batman: Reign of Terror. This Elseworlds story was written by Mike W. Barr and drawn by artist Jose Luis Garcia Lopez. It came out in February 1999. Disgusted by the price that France had to pay during the Revolution, first coalition soldier and patriot Captain Bruce Wayne was discharged in 1794. He traveled back to Paris, which was being ruled by the tyrannical Committee of Public Safety. He met his wife, Jennifer St. Cyr, there. Later, he learned that his wife's parents were involved in activities against the committee and that they were marked for execution by guillotine dubbed the Blade of Death. Bruce's father, Thomas, advised Bruce to join the committee and try to convince the leader, Maximilien Robespierre, to spare his in-laws. Bruce did the same, but was unable to change Maximilian's decision. In resistance, Bruce donned the costume of a bat and posed as ill fortune to those who would massacre the innocents. He saved Jennifer's family as well as others and was dubbed by people as La Chauve-Souris, the Batman. Batman was later trapped by the committee's leader, Hervé Diente, and his identity was revealed. They also caught his mother, Martha, and wife, Jennifer. Bruce escaped prison with the help of his sister Rochelle, who dressed up as the new Robin and became his partner. Later, Batman and Robin went to rescue Martha and Jennifer from a flying blimp and met Hervé and Thomas, who stood for the committee and wanted to kill them. Batman fought Hervé with a sword and scarred his face, disfiguring it on both sides. When Thomas tried to kill Batman, he caused the blimp to explode, killing both Thomas and Hervé. The reign of the committee ended, and Bruce moved with his family to England. Elseworlds Batman: Scar of the Bat. In our next Elseworlds story, we get to see the Batman take on the famous gangster Al Capone. This story was written by Max Allan Collins and illustrated by Eduardo Barrito. It was released in March 1996. This story is adapted from G-Man Elliot Ness's autobiography, The Untouchables. The story is set in 1928, when Scarface Al Capone and his gang were at large. When Capone killed two of his own men, Piazzi and Lamberto, with a baseball bat and dumped their body in the jungles, it caught the notice of the government. Alexander Jamie, the head of the Justice Department, met with Prohibition agent Elliot Ness and decided to form a Capone squad to put an end to the gangster and his operations. They formed a team with Danny Rasher, Frank Basile, and George Koken and hit Capone hard. They destroyed his warehouses and made themselves known. One night, Rasher told Ness that he got inspired to fight crime after watching The Mark of Zorro. He was impressed by how the swashbuckling hero beat the villains up and left his mark on them. Rasher further pointed at the poster of the movie The Bat and told Ness that if anyone dressed up as the Batman from that movie, it would scare Jesus out of the hoodlums. Next, a man dressed up as the Batman carrying a baseball bat beat up Capone's men and asked them for all the whereabouts of Capone's men. Eventually, Capone's men ambushed the Capone squad and shot at them. Koken and Ness survived, but Rasher was fatally wounded. While Capone's men thought Rasher was the Batman, it was later revealed that Ness was actually dressing up as a Batman. He attacked Capone but couldn't kill him. He later tracked down all the men who ambushed the feds and killed them. Later, Ness went to meet Rasher. On his deathbed, Rasher made him promise not to be a vigilante anymore, plant the Batman mask and bat in his room, and let Batman die with him. Ness did the same. Later, he worked with the feds to pin Capone on tax evasion fraud and sent him to jail. Capone died later, and the Batman was never heard of since then. Elseworlds Batman: Mask. This Elseworlds story came out in 1997 and was written and illustrated by Mike Grell. This was a loose adaptation and homage to Gaston Leroux's famous literary piece, The Phantom of the Opera. This story is set in the turn of the 20th century. During this night patrol, Batman was summoned by Chief O'Hara and Commissioner Gordon. They told him about a thug who ran away and hid in the roofs of the buildings. Batman tracked the thug down, but he attacked in return. Both of them fell down onto a stage of an opera house where a play named The Mask was taking place. Harvey Dent, a famous actor, was in a porcelain mask playing the titular role. Batman managed to stop the miscreant, but a candelabra chandelier fell from above and set fire to Harvey's mask, scarring one side of his face as well as his mind. Bruce started dating Laura Avian, the lead actress of the play. Incidentally, Harvey was also in love with her and stalked her. When the show manager decided to recast Harvey, he killed him and made it look like an accident. Laura discovered Bruce was Batman and fell more in love with him. However, she was torn between Bruce and Harvey, as Harvey was able to bring out the artist in her. On the night of the play, Harvey killed the actor that replaced him and took his place. Batman stopped him and fought Harvey. Harvey, obsessed with Laura's love, tried to kill her by dropping a candelabra chandelier on her, but fell victim to his own action and was burned alive. Batman saved Laura, and Laura asked him to accompany her to Ballet Parisien, but Bruce declined, saying that he belonged amongst the absurd in Gotham. Laura ran away in grief, and Bruce was left alone. Elseworlds Batman, Houdini, Devil's Workshop. This Elseworlds story shows us a universe where Batman teamed up with the great escape artist Harry Houdini. This story was written by Howard Chaykin and John Francis Moore and illustrated by Mark Chiarello. It was released in 1993. This story is set up in Gotham in the early 20th century. Bruce Wayne was a rich elite who operated as the vigilante Batman at night. Harry Houdini was a famous escape artist who used to perform all over Gotham. Children all around the Narrows in Gotham were being kidnapped by an albino madman named Jack Schadenfreude. The Narrows was dubbed the Devil's Workshop by the people. Batman faced Jack one night while he was trying to abduct kids, but he hurt Batman and fled the scene. Later, both Bruce and Houdini met the pompous Elijah Montenegro, the beef baron of Gotham, at an elite party covered by journalist Vicky Vale. Houdini conducted his own investigation and came to know that all the kids that were abducted worked in the Montenegro Meats Company. He broke into one of the factories and met Batman. Mistakenly thinking that Batman was the abductor, he tried to bring him in, but Batman stunned him and left. Batman and Houdini tracked down Jack and fought him. Jack fell down a shaft, broke his neck, and died. Later, it was revealed that Montenegro was a vampire, and Jack worked for him. All the children that Jack kidnapped and killed were sucked dry by Montenegro, and Jack ate their flesh. Montenegro eventually abducted Vale and took him to his castle. He was working with Leonora Reinhardt, another elite who was turned into a vampire. Batman and Houdini attacked them but were overpowered and chained. Houdini helped them escape from the chains. Batman interfered while Montenegro was trying to turn a Vale into a vampire. While Batman was fighting him, Vale staked Montenegro from behind and he burned into ash. Houdini killed Leonora with his Jewish Star of David trinket. In the end, all three walked into the sunrise. Elseworlds Batman, Dark Knight of the Round Table. This Elseworlds story was written by Bob Layton and drawn by Dick Giordano. It was released in 1998. The story is set in the time of King Arthur. The sorceress Morgana Le Fay, half-sister to Arthur, seduced him and had his bastard child Mordred. She vowed to put the child on the throne, which would plunge the world to a dark age. Arthur tried to find the child, but was unable to, so he banished all male children, including the Wainsmores, from the shores of England. Later, when Morgana gets a vision about bats in the house of Wainsmores, she conjured a bat demon and ordered it to kill every Wainsmore. The demons attacked their ship and killed them all, but Bruce survived and was washed to the Isle of Avalon. He was adopted by the three queens of Avalon and trained to be a great warrior. On their order, Bruce traveled to the Cavern of Dreams where Merlin appeared in the form of a giant bat. He tells him to take up the mantle of bat as it's a symbol of death for Morgana. Merlin trains Bruce and gives him weapons that were forged in the fiery breath of a dragon and cooled in its blood. He was blessed with the might of the Lady of the Lake and the sword of Sir Thomas Wainsmore. And so Bruce was transformed into Batman, the Dark Knight. On his first quest, he stopped the forces of Mordred. He found Richard Grayson, whose whole family was killed by Mordred, and took him in. Batman met Alfred in Camelot, and he dubbed Richard as the new Robin. Talia later appeared and asked Bruce not to lead Arthur's men in exchange for her hand. Her father, Ras, wanted the Holy Grail to become immortal, and she wanted Bruce on her side. Bruce refused, and it was later revealed that Ras, Talia, and Mordred were working together. When the villains attack the kingdom, Batman joins the battle along with Alfred and Robin. When Ubu kills Robin, Batman beheads Ubu in a fit of rage. Batman went to lead Arthur's army against Ras, who had turned his own army into mindless zombies. Batman defeats Ras, and his plethora of bats carry Ras to the depths of hell. Talia later committed suicide in defeat. Batman attacked Morgana, while Arthur and Mordred fought at the shores. Batman finally killed Morgana with his father's sword. Arthur and Mordred delivered deathly blows. Mordred died and Arthur was mortally wounded. They both went to Avalon and Merlin told both to rest until England is at peril again. Later, in 1940, we see a bat plane shooting down Nazi planes. Elseworlds Batman, Brotherhood of Bat. This Elseworlds story was written by Doug Munch and was drawn by an array of artists: Jim Aparo, Jim Bayland, Brett Blevins, Norm Brayfogle, Vincent Giordano, Tom Grummett, Mike Manley, and Graham Nolan. This book was released in November 1995. The story is set 53 years after the millennial apocalypse. The Ebola Honduras strain 9 virus had wiped 97% of humanity. Crime and injustice was rampant in the whole world. Gotham was ruled by gangs and patrolled by the paramilitary forces. It was during this time when Ra's al Ghul was resurrected again in the Lazarus Pit. It was revealed that he was responsible for the spreading of the virus, and he planned to kill 23 million more to achieve the balance between nature and humanity. He created his new base in Gotham, in the Batcave. He created a new Lazarus Pit there, as he believed Gotham to be the hub of all energy emanating directly from the Earth's core. He appointed 10 Batmen to run patrol in Gotham and turn it into a tyrannical utopia so that he could expand his kingdom from there. The Batmen continued their brutal ways and killed anyone who stood against them, good and bad alike. But this fake utopia could not fool Talent, a citizen from Gotham. Talent believed that he had a higher calling and talked to his mother regarding that, who was revealed to be Talia al Ghul. Talia told Talent that his father was Batman and gave him the key to Wayne Manor. She also gave him his father's bat costume. Talent donned the costume when he was convinced by an old Gordon and Barbara. He fought Ra's, then he carefully and systematically removed all the 10 Batmen and handed them to police custody. With each fake Batman's defeat, his confidence grew. In the end, he fought Ra's in the demon Batman costume again. Talia intervened and shot Ra's. Talent drove a sword through Ra's stomach. But Ra's fell into the Lazarus Pit and was resurrected again. When his madness passed, Ra's handed over Gotham to Talent and left to conquer the rest of the world. Talent became the new Batman and created the vaccine for the virus and set on his quest to revive the world. Elseworlds Batman, Dark Joker, The Wild. This Elseworlds story came out in 1994 and was written by Doug Munch and drawn by Kelly Jones. In the story, we see 2 godly beings of magic, Magister and Lilandra, giving birth to their second child, who will be the avatar of the Wild. They were attacked by Dark Joker and his ogres and murdered. Joker took Magister's talisman but couldn't make it work. He also took their secret cask but couldn't open it. In his anger, he threw the child from the eyrie. He thought that the child died, but it turned into a bat and flew into the jungle. 23 years later, a stranger warned the villagers about the Dark Joker. The villagers ambushed him, but most of them were killed. The griefs of the villagers were misdirected toward the stranger, who was revealed to be a sorceress named Saressa. They tried to burn her, but the jungle came alive and killed them. She contacts the child of Magister and Lilandra, who is now a bat-like predator and leads an animalistic life in the wild. Saressa teaches the Batman how to speak and communicate. She revealed that the cask that Joker stole contained the essence of many evil and must never be opened. On learning from her that Dark Joker killed his parents, the Batman was enraged with vengeance. Later, while Batman went on a hunt, Dark Joker attacked and killed Saressa. He marked himself with Saressa's magical blood and then turned into a more evolved and defined Batman, no more a mere animal. Meanwhile, Dark Joker tricked an innocent boy to open the cask and release the essence of all evil. Then he attacked Hightown with his armies of monsters. Batman took the help of the people of Hightown and went into battle with Dark Joker, but he escaped. Batman gained the trust of the Hightowns and attacked Dark Joker at the Eyrie. After a vicious battle, he bit open Dark Joker's throat and threw him from the Eyrie, finishing him once and for all. In the end, the Batman revealed to the Hightowners that he was able to transform into a man at will and told them to call on him whenever there's trouble. Elseworlds Batman, Nosferatu. This Elseworlds story was released in 1999. It was written by Jean-Marc Lofficier and Randy Lofficier and drawn by Ted McKeever. This was an attempt in the steampunk genre and was presented in the lieu of classic movies like Metropolis, The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, and Nosferatu, A Symphony of Horror. The prequel to this book ended with Superman, Clark Kentson, and Lois Lane taking over the rule of Metropolis after defeating Luthor. But in this utopia, there were a few elites who opposed this flourishing rule. Dr. Arkham held seances using a laughing man for the perverted rich of Metropolis. The laughing man was a humanoid cyborg that Luthor built. Eshevin Gordson and attorney Dirk Grayson became aware of the experiments that were still going on in Arkham, but before they could do anything, the laughing man killed both of them under Arkham's orders. Dirk's friends, Bruce Wainson and Barbara Gordson, pleaded with the police as well as Superman and Lois for help, but were turned down. Meanwhile, Arkham had conspired with the new Chancellor, Henderson, to assassinate both Bruce and Barbara. During a prison breakout, Bruce was thrown into the great pit of the underworld in order to kill him. But Bruce found ancient conscious computers at the bottom who were there since the creation of everything. They created Metropolis and were slowly forgotten in the course of evolution and civilization. They turned Bruce into Nosferatu, a bat-like robotic creature and a force for good, and deployed him in Metropolis. Nosferatu and Superman faced Arkham and Henderson in the city above. Henderson wounded Superman with kryptonite, but Nosferatu intervened. He killed Henderson by throwing him from a tower. Soon, Superman and Nosferatu got into an altercation as their ideals don't match. They eventually fight and they fall into the underworld. When they were wounded to the point of fatality, the ancient computers intervened. The computers advised them that light and darkness must coexist, and Nosferatu must own the night to fight the shadows. Restored to their full might by the computers, Superman became the Knight of Light and Batman became the Warrior of the Night. In the end, Nosferatu becomes the new director of the asylum, with Dr. Arkham as an inmate. Elseworlds Batman, The Castle of the Bat. This Elseworlds story was released in 1994 and was written by Jack C. Harris and drawn by Bo Hampton. This is a spiritual adaptation of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein and presented in lieu of old Hammer horror movies. The story is set in Germany 1819, where Bruce Wayne is a practicing doctor. It was shown that Bruce wanted to be an actor growing up, but his father was unusually strict on making him a doctor. One night while traveling, they were ambushed by robbers and the Waynes were killed. In order to honor his father's memory, he became a doctor, but he also took a vow to kill all criminals and their likes. Bruce found out a way to transfer the life energies of one species to another in the form of lightning, and wanted to bring a revolution in the medical world. But he was scorned by his colleague, Dr. Seltsam. One night, Bruce and his subhuman servant Alfredo discovered a path to the biological laboratory under the university, where he discovered his father's brain, preserved for 15 years. Alfredo scavenged and arranged for perfect body parts of potent human beings for Bruce. Bruce planted the brain in the body and with the help of science and lightning, brought him to life. But when the newborn monster didn't respond and had limited thinking, Bruce donned it with a bat costume and gave it the powers of a bat in order to enhance it. It transformed into a bat-like creature and became a Batman. The Batman then attacked robbers under Bruce's supervision. Bruce taught it never to take a life, but it escaped and abducted Bruce's love interest, Julia. Eventually, Bruce found out that it was Dr. Seltsam under whose orders the robbers killed his parents. Bruce went to Seltsam's lab and saw him experimenting on the robber that made him an orphan and Alfredo. Seltsam revealed that the preserving fluid that he discovered caught Thomas Wayne's notice, so he had to eliminate him. While Bruce tried to save Alfredo, the Batman appeared and handed over Julia to Bruce. The Batman then attacked Seltsam. When Seltsam tried to use electricity to kill Batman, Bruce threw a jar of preserving fluid at him, causing Seltsam to electrocute himself. While helping them escape, Seltsam's castle fell apart and the Batman died, saving them. But in his dying moments, he was able to recognize his son, Bruce. Elseworlds Batman, Dark Allegiances. This Elseworlds story was written and drawn by Howard Chaykin. It was published in 1996. It was 1930 and a pre-World War II America. Bruce Wayne was posing as a futurist industrialist by day and fought corruption by night as Batman. Batman initially thwarted the White Legion cult's plan of human sacrifice one night. In the fight, he unmasked the leader of the cult and discovered that it was Joker. When he was overpowered, Alfred helped him escape. Bruce later met Senator Putty and filmmaker Milt Bigsley and showed him his vision of a beautiful America, and learned that all the politicians thought that Batman was not a singular person but a group of Batmen. The politicians had a vision of using Wayne tech to bring the Batman into submission. Meanwhile, Bruce was being seduced by Hollywood hottie Kitty Grimalkin. Kitty Grimalkin was herself blackmailed by the politicians and was employed to keep an eye on Bruce. Later, Kitty dressed as Catwoman and broke into Bruce's office to steal Wayne tech weapon records. Batman stopped her while she was trying to flee the scene. Kitty submitted to Batman and told her that she was formerly Selina Kyle, and Bigsley had her photos and videos that could end her career that she struggled so much for. Bruce learned that Bigsley blackmailed Kitty to destroy Bruce, use his designs to aid the mob, and start a Bat franchise line. Bruce also came to know that Putty, Joker, Bigsley were all working together. Their plan was to assassinate Franklin Donald Roosevelt and Hitler. Bruce thwarted their plan while Joker was going to shoot Hitler and Roosevelt. Joker died from a batarang wound while trying to escape. Hitler shot Putty through the head. Later, Roosevelt called Bruce and gave him a new assignment. In the end, we see Catwoman, Batman, and Alfred dressed up as Robin, embarking on a new adventure. Elseworlds Batman, The Doom That Came to Gotham. This Elseworlds story came out in 2001 and was written by Mike Mignola and Richard Pace, with artwork by Troy Nixie. The story takes place in 1920. In the search for Professor Oswald Cobblepot, explorer Bruce Wayne and his Robins come face to face with an ancient Lovecraftian monster buried in ice. Bruce took Cobblepot's man Grendon and escaped. Grendon was diagnosed dead, but he was still walking around and everything around him was freezing. Upon Bruce's arrival in Gotham, he found the corpse of Kirk Lang Langstrom in his manner that whispered his own name to him. Jason Blood met Bruce and told him that he has unleashed an evil and that he must die to become the one to stop that evil. Then he turned to Etrigan and returned. Bruce started investigating as Batman and found Langstrom's diary that spoke of a great evil that was coming and spoke of the cursed book, Testament of Ghoul, in possession of one Professor Manford. But before he could take it, Talia coveted the book and killed Manford and turned him into her aide Daitia, and another killer crockish monster. With the book, she brought Ras to life. Ras unleashed a plague on Batman and all of Gotham. Batman started transforming into an undead. Meanwhile, both Jason and Dick were killed by Killer Croc and Grendon, now Mr. Freeze. Ras summoned the weed creature by sacrificing Freeze with the power of God Log Sothar. With all of Gotham in chaos, Tim Drake met Oliver Queen, who was revealed to be a soldier of God and had holy weapons in his possession. The weed creature attacked and killed Queens, but Batman saved Tim. Harvey Dent fell victim to the plague and his left side turned into a hideous monster. The ghost of Crosby Manford told Bruce that their predecessors had discovered an entire tomb and temple of ancient gods under Gotham during colonization, and that the old gods are coming. Taking Queen's weapons, Batman attacked and killed Croc. He found that Harvey Dent's left side had turned into a doorway to the realm of the old gods. He walked through to find Ras trying to summon Log Sothar. Batman shot an arrow and impaled the Testament of Ras. Batman went into a battle with Ras, who used occult magic to hurt him. Batman turned completely into a bat monster and Ras turned into a monster, and they fought. Batman took the Testament and impaled the arrow into Ras's heart, burning him to ashes. Log Sothar arrived and killed Talia. The demon Etrigan intervened to help Batman. He used his magical fire breath to push Log Sothar into his underworld prison. Batman escaped and burned Harvey so the gateway could not be opened again. Later, he withdrew from public eyes altogether and started protecting Gotham as a bat creature. Elseworlds Batman, Leatherwing. This Elseworlds story was published in Detective Comics Annual No. 7 and was written by Chuck Dixon and illustrated by Enrique Alcatena. During the times of William's rule in England, Leatherwing was the most dreadful pirate in the seas, though benevolent and shared his bounties with the crown. Accompanied by his aide Alfredo and his crew, Leatherwing attacked a Spanish galleon in his ship, the Flying Fox. He rescued Princess Quexchala and returned her to her father, King Hapa of the Cayman Indios. The princess gave him a bracelet and he accepted, and unbeknownst to Leatherwing, they were married as per tradition. Confused and not knowing how to handle the situation, he left for his port of Vespertilio Cay at Kingston. A little thief named Robin climbed aboard the Flying Fox with the dreams of ravaging the seven seas with Leatherwing. Meanwhile, Captain Joker, the Laughing Man, interrogated the location of Vespertilio Cay from a dawn. He helped Captain Felina against her rebellious crew and teamed up with her to seduce Leatherwing and then follow him to Kingston, and then kill him and loot his treasure. Robin alerted Batman of a mutiny on the Flying Fox and instantly became his favorite. Felina posed as a Contessa in distress, to be fed to the sharks by loathsome pirates. Leatherwing saved her, and they fell in love, and Felina decided to marry Leatherwing. When she saw Quextachala embracing him at port and learned that she was his wife, Felina left in jealousy to aid Joker. Robin followed her, but got caught. Robin told her that Leatherwing loved only her, and his marriage with Quextachala was a confusion of customs that Alfredo was supposed to clear up. Felina, understanding her mistake, teamed up with Robin and attacked Joker and his crew. Leatherwing and his crew intervened as a blessing. While Leatherwing and Joker were fighting, Joker shot at him. Robin jumped in front and was shot. In his rage, Leatherwing stabbed Joker through his chest with his sword, killing him. He impaled Joker's corpse on the ship's mast and sank the ship. Leatherwing did a precise surgery and saved Robin. He married Felina and all of them kept scourging the seven seas happily ever after. Elseworlds Batman, the Tyrant. This Elseworlds story was written by Alan Grant and drawn by Tom Rainey and Joe Staton. It was released in Shadow of the Bat Annual No. 2 in 1994. On the night when Bruce's parents were killed, he was saved by Jonathan Crane just as he was about to be shot. Since then, Crane trained him and taught him to instill fear into the hearts of criminals. As Bruce Wayne, he did philanthropy and helped the people of Gotham, so he was unanimously elected as the civic leader of Gotham. When a bat crashed through their window, they took it as a sign from above, and Bruce adopted a bat as a symbol. But while he was fighting the Joker, he unmasked him. When the people of Gotham came to know the truth and saw the video of his parents' murder, they sympathized with him more and accepted both his identities. Since then, he ran a fascist state, being city leader Bruce Wayne in the day and Batman the scourge of criminals at night. There was a 70% drop in crime, which broadened Bruce's vision of turning Gotham crime-free. A teenage boy, Lonnie Macon, who was secretly the rebellious hero Anarchy, gathered the villains and Gothamites alike against Batman and his rule, revealing that Batman was actually drugging everyone to keep them them on a leash. He called them the Subversives. Batman found out about the Subversives and caught Vicky Vale, the Catwoman, when she broke into Wayne Tech. He also arrested Gordon, who was helping Vicky. Crane used them as test subjects, creating a gas that will expunge free will and thought and turn villains into vegetables. Anarchy gathered all the villains and planned a threefold attack on Bruce on Parents' Day. The villains attacked the Parents' Day parade but killed Alfred. Most of the villains were hunted down by state police and shot. When Batman and Crane tried to release the gas into Gotham, they were stopped by Anarchy and the Subversives. Crane stopped all of them with the gas and opened Anarchy's belt, revealing a teenage boy. He ordered Batman to kill Anarchy, but Batman refused. Crane revealed Batman could not deny his orders as he drugged him since childhood. Anarchy detonated the bomb in his belt, killing Crane, and escaped. Batman confessed everything on TV and surrendered to the people of Gotham. The people burned his manor with him in and killed him. Elseworlds Batman, Gotham Noir. This Elseworlds story was written by Ed Brubaker and drawn by Sean Phillips and was released in 2001. The story is set in 1949. P.I. Gordon was working on a missing persons case that he was unable to crack. During his regular drinking habits and investigative routine, he was contacted by club owner Selina Kyle to escort her friend Rachel Hollingsworth, who was coming to Gotham. Since she was Gordon's flame once and also because he needed the money, Gordon decided to help Selina. Gordon escorted Rachel to an elite party. There, he got into altercations with Mayor de Haven, who seemed to have known Rachel from before. He shouted at Bruce, who was married to Selina, and reminded him how low he had stooped to appease the corrupt mayor. Gordon was beaten up at the party, after which he started drinking heavily and passed out. In the morning, he was woken up by police in a ditch with Rachel's dead body by his side. District Attorney Harvey Dent got him released, and it was revealed that Dent was working with Jack Napier to bring down de Haven. Batman met Gordon and interrogated him on Rachel's death. Gordon was later kidnapped by Boss Zuko and Louis Santoro and interrogated about Rachel's journal, which had all the secrets of corruption. Gordon escaped when Batman intervened. When de Haven came to know of Napier and Dent working together, he beat up Napier and cut his mouth, ear to ear. Napier, now Joker, vowed vengeance on Gordon. Gordon was declared Rachel's killer and he went on the run. Joker kidnapped Gordon's wife Rachel and Barbara and waited for Gordon to arrive at de Haven and Zuko's party. Batman and Gordon crashed the party and apprehended Joker. Gordon shot Joker and he fell onto the stage. When cornered, de Haven revealed that his man Frankie killed Rachel that night while Gordon was trying to stop him even under the influence of sedatives. Bruce brought the police with him and said that he'd handed all details of de Haven to the attorney. De Haven was arrested, but Zuko fled the scene. Joker tried to shoot Barbara, but Gordon shielded her and was shot. Before dying, Gordon had the reminiscence of shooting a kid to save Bruce's life when they were in the war in Normandy. It was that incident that gave him post-war trauma and he started seeing Batman. Harvey later confessed at Gordon's grave that he made Batman up to scare the criminals. He was never real. Elseworlds Batman, Thrill Killer. This Elseworlds story is a crime noir written by Howard Chaykin and illustrated by Dan Brereton. It came out in October 1998. The story is set in the year 1961. Sexual revolution had dawned, so had the Vietnam War. Although Gotham was on its path to a hopeful optimism, crime was still rampant and politicians were still corrupt. When Barbara Gordon was a kid, her mother was killed and left in a pool of blood shaped as a bat. She was psychologically distraught and ran away to join a circus, where she met Richard Grostark, the acrobat. They fell in love and left the circus. When Bruce was little, his parents were killed in a hold-up, and he had to sell everything in order to pay his father's loans. He grew up in an orphanage and became a hard-boiled detective working for GCPD. Barbara bought the Wayne Manor and teamed up with Rickard to dress up as crime-fighting duo Batgirl and Robin. When they spoiled a tax collection by corrupt cops Sand, Crockett, and Duel, Gordon assigned Bruce to bring the vigilantes in. During his investigation, Bruce met Selina Kyle, a stripper at the scratching post. Selina informed Bruce that not only the cops but the city council and mayor's office are involved, too. It was revealed that after Don Julio was indicted for tax evasion, Bianca Steeplechase, the Lady Joker, took control of the criminal operations and was working for Mayor Ryan. After a brawl with Batgirl and Robin, she discovered that Robin was actually Richard Grostark. She arranged for the Grostarks to perform in Gotham and had them all killed while Richard watched. She also got Selina killed. Barbara planted her Batgirl costume in Selina's apartment to make it look like Selina was Batgirl. Devastated, Richard became enraged and decided to attack the corrupt people in the Penguin Lounge. While Mayor Ryan and elite Giorgio Lamati were making a deal on Gotham's trash removal contract, the vigilantes attacked. Bruce joined them too. During the fight, Bianca kissed Richard, her kiss being laced with a lethal poison. While Bruce and Barbara were trying to help Richard, Bianca escaped. Gordon arrested Ryan and Lumati. Richard died and Bruce joined Barbara in her quest, now sporting as the Batman. Elseworlds Batman, Dark Knight Dynasty. This Elseworlds graphic novel was written by Mike W. Barr and illustrated by Scott Hampton, Gary Frank, and Scott McDaniel. This book was released in 1997. In the dark past of year 1212, Joshua Wainwright, a Templar knight, fought the immortal Vandal Savage who had stolen a huge shipment of gold. Savage became immortal from the radiation of a meteor that crashed on Earth. He developed a sphere to bring another such meteor on Earth again in order to covet its power. Joshua stopped him and threw him into the sphere. He vowed that he and his family will stop Savage in the upcoming ages. However, Savage posed as a Templar leader and convinced everyone that Joshua stole the gold and burned him alive at the stake. In the dark present, the 20th century, it was Bruce's wedding day when his parents were gunned down. Savage came as a helper to Bruce, now posing under the name Vincent Sinclair. His main aim was to use the Wayne Enterprises space shuttle to grab the meteor. Inspired by an old painting of Joshua, Bruce dressed up like a bat and started his investigation. He eventually stopped Savage while he was flying the shuttle to get the meteor. Savage went into a freefall with Bruce into the Earth's atmosphere. Bruce was killed on re-entry, but Savage survived. In the dark future, the year 2050, we get to see a technologically advanced new Gotham, where humans and intelligent apes coexist. Brenna Wayne, the vice president of Wayne Tech, found out that the past 13 generations of Waynes died mysteriously after dressing up as a bat in their final days. She took up the Batwoman moniker and investigated and learned about Savage. She faced off against Savage on the meteor that he was trying to crash on Earth. Savage was left drifting in space on that meteor, while Brenna made it back to Earth, alive. Elseworlds Batman, Two Faces. This Elseworlds story was written by Dan Abnett and Andy Lanning and drawn by Anthony Williams and Tom Palmer. This story was released in 1998. This story was an homage to R.L. Stevenson's novel Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. The story is set in Gotham City in the Victorian era. It's presented as a flashback tale from Gordon to Peregrine White. In the year 1886, a gala was arranged by millionaire Bruce Wayne to exhibit the Twilight Orchid, which Gordon and Pamela Isley attended with other people of Gotham. The Twilight Orchid was a flower that sported exquisite colors and attracted insects through the day, and lost all colors and became a weed and attracted only pests at night. Two-Face and his group of thugs attacked the gala and killed Pamela in front of a helpless Bruce. Bruce became obsessed with the idea of curing Two-Face's dual personality disorder. He created a potion from the flower retrieved from Pamela's dead hands. He drank the potion himself in order to test it and was gifted with superhuman strength. He developed a sense of purpose and decided to decimate Two-Face's criminal empire dressing up as Batman. Meanwhile, prostitutes at Selina Kyle's brothel were getting murdered by a white-skinned madman dubbed as the Joker. Batman started searching for the Joker, but was attacked by Selina, now dressed up as Catwoman. When the confusion cleared, they decided to search for the Joker together. While Joker was beating up Two-Face's thugs, Selina intervened. Joker, with his superhuman strength, beat her up and paralyzed her from waist down. Alfred warned Bruce against consuming the potion, but in his obsession, he drank a more potent concoction. In his trance, he got a revelation and sent letters to Gordon and Two-Face to meet him. Upon meeting, Batman revealed that he, himself, was the Joker and turned into the Joker in front of them. While he was going to kill Two-Face, Bruce's consciousness took control and he jumped to his death. In order to fulfill Bruce's last wish, Two-Face drank the potion and cured himself of the duality. He donned the Bat costume and started fighting for justice. Elseworlds Golden Streets of Gotham, Bruno Vanikov. Bruno Vanikov was an Elseworlds Batman who made his appearance in Batman: The Golden Streets of Gotham in March 2003. He was created by Jen Van Meter and Tommy Lee Edwards. Bruno Vanikov was a lower-class worker whose parents perished in a significant industrial fire as a result of employer Joe Chillingham's carelessness. He committed himself to combating the vice and corruption that not only killed his parents, but also countless lower-class laborers throughout the city of Gotham. He began his quest as Batman and used to rob from the rich and give them money to the poor. He was inspired by the ideals of Selina, a local union leader. He was joined in his quest by James and Barbara Gordon. However, he was convicted for a serial killing going on in Gotham. He took refuge in Alfred's Theatre, where he befriended acrobat Dick Grayson. With his faith restored in the system, Bruno started investigating the murders and found out that a man named Jack Smart, who was working for Chillingham, was the killer. Jack played a clown at Alfred's Theatre and was clinically insane. When Jack attacked, Bruno dressed up as Batman and saved Chillingham. Chillingham had a change of heart and confessed his negligence to the public and gave himself up to the police. Selina revealed the mayor's corrupt operation, who was actually her father. With his quest at an end, Bruno gave himself up to the police to let justice take its course. Elseworlds Batman, Citizen Wayne. The Elseworlds story Citizen Wayne was released in July 1994. It was written by Mark Waid and Brian Augustine and drawn by Joe Staton. In this story, we see a district attorney investigating the deaths of Harvey Dent and Bruce Wayne. Both were found wearing Batman armors. The attorney learned during his investigation that Bruce's father was killed when he was a child, and he and his mother survived. In order to hold on to his father's quest against injustice, Bruce ran the newspaper named Gotham Guardian, which exposed truths about corruption across the city. Harvey was the hot-headed district attorney who believed that criminals could only be brought down with force. Both Harvey and Bruce had been friends since childhood, and they fought crime in Gotham in their own ways. Later, a man clad in a black bat costume started crashing bootleggers. Boss Maroney thought that it was Harvey, so he attacked him while he was with Gordon. Maroney disfigured Dent's entire face with acid and also hurt Gordon badly. Bruce later learned that Harvey was the Batman, but it was too late. In his rage, Harvey had killed Maroney by throwing him off a roof. Bruce believed it was his duty to stop Harvey, so he donned a white bat armor and set off to meet Harvey. They met on a rooftop and started fighting, while Bruce pleaded with Harvey to turn himself in. During the fight, Harvey slipped and hung above a gargoyle. Bruce leaned out to help him, but the gargoyle broke and both of them succumbed to their death. It was later revealed that the district attorney who was investigating the case was Dick Grayson. He was appointed after Harvey died. In the end, Dick seemed inspired by the heroes of Gotham and believed that only a hero can get Gotham on track. Elseworlds Batman I, Joker. Batman I, Joker was an Elseworlds graphic novel that was written and drawn by Bob Hall and was released in 1998. This story was set in a futuristic Gotham, which was ruled by a tyrannical leader known only as the Bruce. People competed for the privilege to vanquish the Bruce and succeed him as Batman on an annual religious festival known as the Night of Blood. But in order to do that, they must first vanquish one of Batman's most formidable adversaries. These adversaries were actually surgically enhanced people remade into any one villain from Batman's rogues gallery. Joe Collins led a resistance against the Bruce along with his girlfriend Maria and friend Dar. They planned to attack Bruce's citadel through the Batcave, but were apprehended. Dar betrayed them, but before he could divulge the location of the Batcave, Joe slit his throat. Bruce's henchman, Dr. Klybon, performed surgeries on Joe and turned him into a Joker, but kept his memories so that he had a fighting chance. Bruce crushed Maria's larynx and dubbed her into his silent Robin. Joe found an old recording of the original Bruce Wayne, who passed on the message that if Gotham ever needed to be saved, someone must wear the cape and cowl and fight for it. Inspired, Joe wore the cowl and faced off with the Bruce on the roof of the Citadel. Joe defeated Bruce and told him to admit to the people that he is not a god. But Maria killed the Bruce with Klybon's surgical laser. Later, Joe and Maria became the new Batman and Robin of Gotham City. Elseworlds Batman, the Batman of Arkham. This Elseworlds story was released in June 2000. It was written by Arla Grant and drawn by Enrique Alcatena. The story is set in the year 1900, where Bruce Wayne ran the Arkham Asylum. He worked as a recognized psychiatrist by day and acted as a vigilante at night, helping to pack the asylum cells. In contrast to typical depictions of the institution, his therapies were comprehensive and empathetic, and he had a respectable success record with his patients. Jonathan Crane, a subordinate member of the asylum staff, had his own opinions on patient treatment, as he didn't approve of Bruce's compassionate methods. Joker was spreading his own brand of maniacal lunacy around the city at the same time. Crane had the chance to impose his more severe will on the patients when Bruce succumbed to the Joker gas and was left in a frenzied condition. However, Bruce was revived in due course and he took over Arkham. He also fought Joker and apprehended him. Then he made it his life's work to cure Joker of his madness. Elseworlds Catwoman, Guardian of Gotham. Catwoman, Guardian of Gotham is an Elseworlds story released in 1999 and was written by Doug Munch and drawn by Jim Bayland. In the story, we see an alternate version of Gotham, where Thomas and Martha Kyle were the parents of Selina Kyle. On a fateful night, both of them were killed and Selina was left as an orphan. She trained herself while growing up and then took up the mantle of Catwoman to fight crime and rid Gotham of criminals. She worked with Gordon, who called her using a cat signal. Bruce Wayne, aka Batman, was a disturbed serial killer who killed the Joker in his opening scene and then killed the rest of Catwoman's rogues gallery so they couldn't steal his thunder. As Bruce Wayne, he started flirting with Selina and then seducing her. Selina became intrigued and fell for him. They eventually marry each other. Bruce dropped the act real soon and murdered Selina's best friend, Brooks. He then attacked Selina, and both of them fought. In the end, Selina overpowered him and held him while he hung from the top of a citadel. Bruce revealed that he was the one who killed Selina Kyle's parents, just for fun. Bruce fell and crashed on a rock and was carried away by the river. Later, Selina visited her parents' grave and whispered that she was going to be a mother to a daughter. Elseworlds Batman, Kingdom Come. This Elseworlds story was written by Mark Waid and drawn by Alex Ross. This book was released in 1996. Set in Earth 22, Bruce Wayne functioned as the crime fighter Batman, but with age, he grew disillusioned with the superheroes as the line between superheroes and supervillains became more blurred. All the metas were violent and didn't have any moral code of right and wrong. After Lois and Daily Planet employees were killed by the Joker, a new breed hero called Magog kills the Joker. Superman lost all hope and retired. When Batman's identity as the Dark Knight was eventually made known to the general world, Wayne Manor was attacked and destroyed by Two-Face and Bane working together. As a result, Bruce made the Batcave his permanent home and started utilizing an army of robotic Batmen known as Bat Knights to defend Gotham on his behalf. He wore an exosuit to help him in his daily activities. He was working with Lex Luthor in order to understand Luthor's plan against the superheroes and try to free a mind-controlled Billy Batson. In the end, when the superheroes and supervillains were fighting together, Batman appeared with an array of superheroes to stop the battle, wearing his mechanized Batsuit. He helped bring Wonder Woman around when the US Army attacked with nuclear missiles. When the battle was over, he was seen helping the wounded. This Batman has all the prowess and abilities of the original one, with only one difference being that he's old and needs the help of an exosuit for his movement. Elseworlds JLA The Nail. This Elseworlds story came out in 3 issues in 1998. It was written and drawn by Alan Davis. In this world, the Justice League is composed of Batman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, The Flash, Hawkman, Hawkwoman, The Atom, Martian Manhunter, and Green Lantern. Along with Metropolis Mayor Lex Luthor and Vice Mayor Jimmy Olsen, journalist Perry White ran an anti-metahuman campaign of lies. Green Arrow, having lost his ability to move during a fight, believed that the Justice League is an extraterrestrial organization that is plotting against mankind. Hawkman had lost his life in the same fight. One by one, all metahuman organizations like the Doom Patrol and the Outsiders, followed by the supervillains, were systematically eliminated. Using energy-generating gauntlets he created to free Arkham Asylum's inmates, Joker caught Batman off guard and killed Robin and Batgirl. Catwoman set Batman free. Batman broke the Joker's gauntlets and severed his neck on live television as Arkham erupted. While the Justice League's credibility was damaged by the Joker's murder, Batman and Catwoman withdrew to the Batcave. The investigative journalist Lois Lane discovered that it was Jimmy who was the mastermind. He had Luthor experiment on him to create a Kryptonian hybrid, and Jimmy was experimenting on other metahumans to create a society of Kryptonians. Batman, Catwoman, Atom, and Flash helped the Justice League escape. When Jimmy tried to kill Batman, he was stopped by a farmer from the Kent family who was revealed to be Clark. Jimmy killed his parents with heat vision when he refused to join him. In a fit of rage, Clark started punching Jimmy and he disintegrated and died. Clark then joined the Justice League and became this Earth's Superman. Elseworlds Batman, The Black Knight. This Elseworlds story was released in 1994 in Catwoman Annual Volume 2, Issue Number 1. It was written by Christopher Priest and drawn by Federico Cueva. The year was 1275 AD, and there was an ongoing civil war in the land of Augustonia. Emperor Maddox of the House of Lords was aiming to exterminate the House of Selene, who had been denounced by the Church of Augustine as savage cannibals and baby killers. Ra's al Ghul, aka the Catman, a demon with feline traits that guarded the Selenites, was their best warrior. Timon Vicker, the Black Knight, the son of the Emperor, commanded the Augustine Legion soldiers in his quest. He was about to kill the Catman for the 9th and final time, after already killing him 8 times before. In one of such quests, Timon finally tracked down Ra's and killed him. While returning, he and his army were ambushed by Catwoman. Catwoman killed all of his soldiers, but Timon pointed at another dead soldier and lied that the dead soldier was Timon. Catwoman tended to the wounded Timon. When Timon regained consciousness, he found that Catwoman could change into her human form, and she was actually Talia, the daughter of Ra's. They stuck with each other until one day the Augustonia legionnaires attacked them. Timon fought them and saved Talia, and they fell in love. Timon went to Maddox to advise him to reconcile with the Selenites, but Maddox hit him in rage instead. Talia attacked and killed Maddox in her Catwoman form. Timon jumped after her in a river when she tried to flee, but both of them were attacked by a giant crocodile. Talia was severely wounded while saving Timon. In the end, Talia died in Timon's arms, requesting him to save her people. Elseworlds Batman, Book of the Dead. This Elseworlds story came out in 1999 and was written by Doug Munch and illustrated by Barry Kitson. In 14,000 BC, the old Egyptian gods of the universe came to Earth to visit their kingdom just before the biblical flood that will destroy everything on the Earth. It was revealed that these catastrophes were actually purge processes termed as precessions, which have always been a part of human history. The idea of the gods was that human beings had to struggle and strive towards achieving godhood and attain the knowledge of gods. If they could not do it every 280,000 30,000 years, then they will be purged and started anew. The god Osiris created a divine staff that had the efflux, the light and knowledge of the gods, secrets of attaining godhood. He asked the bat god Necron to hide it in the underworld, inside the Giza pyramids. Pyramids were actually puzzles and tasks that one should complete before getting to the god staff. However, the god Set was jealous of Osiris as he was married to Isis, whom Set loved. Set decapitated Osiris, but he was revived by Isis. Necron killed Set and took the god staff and hid it in the underworld, but died from the injuries of his battle with Set. The knowledge of the god staff was discovered by archaeologists Thomas and Martha when they investigated a bat cartouche that was handed over from the Age of Gods. But they were murdered by a three-fingered man. Bruce took inspiration from the cartouche and took the mantle of Batman. He hired historian and archaeologist Sheila Ramsey and went on a quest to find out the reason behind his parents' murder. Ramsey deduced that the time of the next purge was near. Eventually, Batman went inside the pyramids while the man who murdered his parents attacked him. Batman dodged him and threw him into the running waters, and the murderer was lost inside the pyramid. Batman eventually completed all the tasks and found out the place where the god staff was hidden. He came out as Bruce Wayne and proclaimed on TV that the secret of the gods was found, and now it was up to humanity to attain it. Elseworlds Batman, Haunted Gotham. This Elseworlds story was released in 2000. It was written by Doug Munch and illustrated by Kelly Jones. In this story, Gotham City was depicted as a gothic, ghostly state, full of ghouls and monsters and humans living together. It was the part where hell brushed Earth, and where hell had to be stopped so that it doesn't destroy all reality. While returning from Dr. Emil Varner's reanimation experiment, Thomas and Martha were killed by a werewolf in front of an adult Bruce. Bruce learned from a skeleton named Carl that he had a destiny to fulfill. Alfred took Bruce to the Batcave where his father's ghost directed him to the Batsuit and told him about his grand duty for which he was trained through life. Bruce became Batman and met Gordon. Gordon revealed that Varner, Thomas, and Martha were a part of the occult group Secret Six, aka Invisible College. Varner had cancer and was thrown out for trying to play God with his experiments. Later, Varner made a pact with the evil lords of Gotham to give them 6 souls and serve them. With all the 6 souls sacrificed, Emil stitched up parts of many corpses with Thomas Wayne's head. He then transferred his soul into the corpse and started calling himself Joker. He reanimated the dead from the graveyard and attacked Gotham with his horde of zombies. Eventually, he fought the Joker and killed him, extracting his father's head, which Joker was using as a conduit for the Dark Lords. He buried the head, and Thomas's soul found peace. Later, he teamed up with Alfred, Gordon, and Cat Magic to defeat the Chaos Serpent god, Ophidian. Elseworlds, The Berlin Batman. This Elseworlds story was published in the Batman Chronicles issue number 11 in 1998. This story was written and drawn by Paul Pope. The story is set in Germany. When Baruch Wayne was a little boy, he witnessed his Jewish parents being murdered by an anti-Semitic mob. Baruch vowed to wage lifelong battle against all criminals and injustice in order to get revenge for their murders. He developed his body and mind as he grew older. After inheriting his parents' money and land, he was motivated by a bat that flew into his house to utilize this emblem to put fear into the heart of the criminals and terrorizing wealthy and corrupt Nazis. In 1938, the Austrian economist Ludwig von Mises' collection, books and notes were seized by the police as a result of his opposition to Nazi party policies and the Third Reich. When Baruch was informed about this by his friend Kommissar Garten, he rushed to the train yard as Batman to steal Mises' work. In an effort to prevent Mises' writings and principles from falling into the wrong hands, he attempts to halt the train, but Garten's men surrounded him, so he detonated the train instead and escaped. In the memoirs of Robin, Baruch's assistant, Batman was hailed as an inspiration to New Age heroes and rebels and embodiment of freedom. Elseworlds, The Bat of Leonardo da Vinci. This Elseworlds story was published in the Batman Volume 2 Annual Issue number 18 in 1994. This story was written by Doug Munch and drawn by Federico Cueva. The past. Set in Florence, 1490, Leonardo da Vinci was being funded by the Medicis. One night, Giuliano Medici, his wife, and his son Thomas came to visit Leonardo to see his work. While returning, Giuliano and his wife were murdered by a disfigured assassin from the house of Pazzi. Leonardo took young Thomas in and trained him to paint as his apprentice. Years later, when Leonardo was drawing the portrait of Mona Lisa del Giocondo, he fell in love with her and Mona Lisa with him. But her husband Francesco became jealous and kidnapped her and kept her a prisoner in the Tower of Four Winds. He was working with the Pazzis and demanded a ransom from Leonardo. Thomas took the designs from Leonardo's timeless painting The Bat and made a bat suit with a glider and flew to the tower to rescue Mona Lisa from Francesco and the Pazzis. As Batman, he rescued Mona Lisa by fighting the disfigured assassin who killed his parents. He stabbed the assassin in his hand and disabled him for life. Leonardo and Mona Lisa were united, and as a respect, he drew Thomas's Batman behind Mona Lisa. But Thomas later erased it and made it a pentimento, a painting within a painting. The present. The Mona Lisa painting was stolen by an ex-employee of the Louvre in Paris and his goons. They had plans to demand ransom from the Louvre. Batman tracked them in Gotham and caught them before they could massacre the painting and reveal the pentimento. Batman gave the painting back to Gordon to hand it to the Louvre. Thus, the secret painting of Batman behind Mona Lisa remained a secret forever. Black Label Batman, White Knight. Black Label is a DC Comics banner that publishes both new miniseries and reprints of books that were previously released under other imprints. The imprint plans to deliver classic DC Universe characters in standalone, prestige format series for an adult readership. This line was started as a replacement for the Vertigo line. Writer-artist Sean Murphy created his own Batman universe under the Black Label imprint of DC. He started this alternate universe in 2017, and it's still ongoing. Batman had lost his composure and become more brutal in the long years of crime fighting. As per Dick and Barbara, he had no regards for collateral. In the beginning, he chased Joker to a pharmaceutical factory and beat him almost to death while the police watched. He force-fed some pills to Joker and gave him up to Gordon. Due to the effects of the pills, Joker's personality changed. He became more composed, compassionate, highly intelligent, and a new man. Using his real name, Jack Napier, he stood on the side of law and blamed Batman for making Gotham a crime-infested city. Jack posed as a white knight and worked towards making Gotham a better place and helping the people of the Backport. Jack teamed up with the new Harley and turned Clayface into dust while mind-controlling him with Hatter's tech. He then made the entire Rogues Gallery drink that dust through wine and started mind-controlling them, too. He set the Rogues on rampage while he worked on the development of Gotham. When the old Harley came back and took Jack with her, the new Harley donned the identity of Neo Joker and set forth to destroy Gotham with the Rogues. Jack's medicines were not working anymore, and his Joker personality was bouncing back now and then. He asked for Batman's help to stop Neo Joker. Batman resolved his distances with Dick and Barbara, who were now working for the Gotham police. They teamed up with Jack and Harley to fight Neo Joker and his armies. While Batman and his team handled the Rogues, Jack and Harley apprehended Neo Joker. Later, Jack got married to Harley and turned completely into Joker again. In the end, Bruce confronted Gordon and unmasked himself to win his trust. Black Label Batman, Last Night on Earth. This story was written by Scott Snyder and drawn by Greg Capullo. It was released under DC's Black Label line in 2019. The story is set in a post-apocalyptic world where all the superheroes have fallen. Bruce Wayne is shown as an inmate of Arkham, where all his rogues gallery were doctors and orderlies, and Alfred was his butler and caretaker. He discovered that it was all a ruse and decided to break free. He bid Alfred goodbye in his quest for truth with the talking head of Joker. He discovered a nightmare world where Coast City had been bombed to ashes and there were frequent speed storms that decimated anything in its way. Bruce went to meet an aged Diana in the Gemworld bunker. There, Diana revealed that he was actually a clone of Bruce that was created by Bruce's machine that he made so that every generation can have a Batman. When the world was at the brink of destruction due to extinction of energy and global warming, Superman went into a wager with Lex on good versus evil. He lost and was killed with kryptonite. Batman opened the gates of the Hall of Justice to appeal to people. But driven sadistic by Lex Luthor, the people attacked and killed all the superheroes and villains alike, and the world fell into its doom. Then a villain named Omega took control of the world and started ruling it with the anti-life equation emanating from Darkseid's severed head. She gave Bruce the original Batman's costume and set him further on his quest. In his quest, Batman met Luthor, who was experimenting by opening cosmic portals and trying to bring Superman's rocket ship on Earth again, so that this world too can have a hope. One of Luthor's Superman robots attacked them under Omega's influence, and Batman fled with the help of Diana. When Batman reached the neo-futuristic Gotham, he met and allied with Nightwing. Nightwing was now a Talon and running a resistance against Omega, whose base was Gotham. Joker's head was fitted into a robot with Robin's symbol. All of them attacked Omega. Diana found out that the amplifier to the anti-life equation was actually Martian Manhunter. Omega revealed to Batman that he was the original Bruce Wayne. He lost faith in humanity after the people tore him limb from limb. He took the help of robotics to keep himself alive, and now his plan was to install his consciousness into young Bruce's body so that he was whole again. Meanwhile, Diana managed to subdue Martian with her lasso of truth. Bruce and Omega fought a bloody battle, and Bruce stabbed Omega in the neck, killing him, but not before showing him that his reign had ended. In the end, Batman and his allies met and waited in the location of one of Luthor's cosmic portals, and through that, a rocket ship arrived, carrying a baby Superman, a new hope for Earth. Black Label Batman, Imposter. This story was written by Mattson Tomlin and drawn by Andrea Sorrentino. It came out under the Black Label imprint in the year 2021. In the story, we're presented with a modern-era crime-ridden Gotham City and a younger, inexperienced and loner Bruce Wayne. Bruce was a loner and didn't even have Alfred to care for him after his parents' death. Alfred left due to Bruce's anger issues and he was sent to military school in Russia. Years passed and one night, Dr. Leslie Tompkins found a blooded-up Batman on his doorstep. She discovered that he was Bruce Wayne and told him to visit him regularly. If she thought that Bruce's mental health was okay, only then she wouldn't hand him over to the police. Bruce told her that there was an imposter who was charading as Batman and killing off criminals. Marking Batman as a killer, GCPD formed a squad to take down Batman anyhow. Detective Wong, one of the squad members, was investigating the case. Wong discovered that Batman had entire Gotham connected, where he traveled through zip lines and made his escape through subway tunnels. Also, he hid expensive motorbikes all around the city at his disposal. Deducting that Batman was being helped by someone wealthy, she met Bruce Wayne. In the course, they connected as both of them were orphans and fell in love. Meanwhile, the imposter connected with a society reject, Otis Flanagan, and learned of all of Bruce's secret hideouts. The police caught Otis, but he committed suicide using Inspector Hatcher's gun. Batman tracked the imposter down, but he was shot by the police and cornered. He revealed his identity to Wong and asked her to trust him. Wong let him go. Bruce investigated and found out that the guns the imposter were using was coming from a shipment by a criminal named Lawrence Lohman. That shipment was locked up in GCPD custody. He met Wong to tell her that the imposter Batman was a cop, but the imposter appeared and started shooting at them. Batman saved a wounded Wong, but the imposter started hitting him black and blue. When the imposter was about to kill Wong, Batman threw a batarang at him and hit one of his eyes. The imposter took off his mask and was revealed to be Inspector Hatcher, Wong's partner. Hatcher was falling when Batman caught him. He tried to lift him up, but Hatcher let go and dropped to his death. Bruce and Wong reconciled, and Bruce visited Otis's grave and waited for whatever evil that awaited him further. Earth 1, Batman. The Earth 1 imprint ran across all major DC titles encompassing Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Teen Titans, and Green Lantern. This universe showed us a much grounded and realistic take on all the superheroes in 2001. Batman Earth 1 was written by Jeff Johns and drawn by Gary Frank. It was released in 2012 and ran till 2021. In the story, we see an inexperienced and younger Bruce Wayne trying to control his anger through his war on crime in Gotham. After Bruce's parents got killed, his father's friend, Alfred, a former soldier, started taking care of him as his legal parent. He taught Bruce various forms of martial arts and investigative techniques. Bruce later came to know that it was Mayor Cobblepot who was involved in his parents' murder. Bruce asked a young techie, Lucius Fox, to build gadgets for him. Ready with his Batman moniker and new gadgets, Bruce spoiled Cobblepot's party. While Gordon was on Cobblepot's payroll, Bullock investigated the murder of the Waynes. Cobblepot, enraged, ordered the serial killer birthday boy to teach them a lesson. A thug named Axe kidnapped Gordon's girl, Barbara, and brought her to Arkham Manor to Birthday Boy so that he can murder her. Gordon, Bullock, and Batman all rushed to Arkham and stopped Birthday Boy. Batman then went to meet Cobblepot. He unmasked himself and declared that he came to exact vengeance. But Cobblepot stabbed him with his umbrella. Cobblepot revealed to Bruce that he wanted the Waynes dead, but instead a random thug killed them. He was about to kill Bruce when Alfred shot Cobblepot with a shotgun and killed him. Finding his resolve in life, Bruce continued as Batman and Barbara decided to become Batgirl, inspired by him. Later, Bruce stopped the serial killer known as the Riddler. In the course, he fell in love with his childhood friend, Jessica Dent, Harvey's twin sister. Harvey was burned and stabbed by Maroni. While Harvey was dying, Jessica pressed her face against Harvey. This caused her to develop a dual personality of Harvey Dent. Batman made friends with Waylon Jones, who was dubbed Killer Croc, and learned of all the connecting subway paths of Gotham. Jessica took a stab at Bruce's personal life by posing as Harvey Dent with the help of Clayface. But in the end, Batman emerged victorious. He formed the new Outsiders team, while a serial killer named Joker started terrorizing Gotham. Tangent Comics Batman. Earth 9. A DC Comics imprint named Tangent Comics was established in 1997 and was based on concepts by Dan Jurgens. The line, which consisted of several one-shots, concentrated on developing brand new characters using well-known DC identities. Set on Earth 9, Sir Williams was the Batman of the Tangent universe. By using her charms to woo Williams, Morgan Le Fay persuaded him to battle King Arthur. Even though Morgan Le Fay was stopped and Sir William was unsuccessful, he was still held responsible. He was imprisoned in the Castle Bat, and the magician Merlin cursed him to stay there until he had atoned for his wrongdoings. Since he was a rogue, his existence was omitted from every version of Arthur's story, and he stayed in the castle for centuries. Sir William found that he could transfer his spirit into his armor and have it walk freely while carrying out good actions not long after the second atom died. As Batman, the Dark Knight, his armor safeguarded London. Sir William was a strong member of the Secret Six and gave them access to his castle so that they could fight for their independence without being spotted by Superman and his repressive government. As a result of their conflict, the heroes of New Earth quickly formed an alliance, and Sir William met his New Earth counterpart. Batman was dispatched to New Earth to continue the battle. He engaged the Ultra-Humanite there and seemingly died fighting him. However, a part of his soul was still shown to exist inside his armor. He was an immortal being and had the power of projecting his spirit into his armor. Since he was a knight at Arthur's table, he was also adept in sword fighting. Amalgam Batman Dark Claw. Dark Claw is the Batman of the Amalgam universe, presented by Access. He made his first appearance in Legends of the Dark Claw issue number 1 in April 1996. He was created by the duo Larry Hama and Jim Balent. He's the outcome of the fusion of Batman and Wolverine from Marvel Comics. Logan Wayne was taken to live with his uncle in Alberta, Canada, when he was 5 years old after witnessing his parents' murder at the hands of an armed robber. His uncle was killed by poachers. Growing up, he signed up for the Royal Canadian Air Force. Logan was submitted to the Canadian Super Soldier Weapon X program. Later, he had adamantium fused to his bones, and he also discovered his meta-mutant origins. The Weapon X program failed since Logan had conscience and compassion. Later, he traveled and trained himself and decided to avenge his parents' death. He presented himself as an irresponsible, shallow playboy artist who subsisted off the personal fortune of his family and the proceeds from the sales of his paintings. At night, he fought crime as Dark Claw. Logan has got a regenerative healing factor that heals him from any wound and makes him age slowly. He has immunity from all kinds of toxins. He also has superhuman stamina and strength. His body is resistant to extreme weather conditions. He has acute senses of an animal. And above all, he has a genius-level intellect, and he's a master strategist. Dark Multiverse. The Dark Multiverse is a reflection of the main multiverse made up of all the fears and regrettable choices that have ever been experienced by its residents. These frail and always disintegrating worlds of the Dark Multiverse are inexorably destined for annihilation due to the design flaws that led to their creation. In the upcoming part, we delve into multiple versions of Batman in the Dark Multiverse. Dark Multiverse. Saint Batman. This version of Batman first appeared in Tales from the Dark Multiverse, Batman, Nightfall. He was created by Scott Snyder, Kyle Higgins, and Javier Fernandez. In the wake of the Source Wall being breached at the conclusion of Dark Knight's Metal, the enigmatic watcher known as Tempus Fugino started attempting to gather a number of heroes from throughout the Dark Multiverse. In his course, he witnessed how different versions of Batman were created in different worlds in the Dark Multiverse. Saint Batman was the first Batman whose history he witnessed. Batman's spine had been fractured by Bane, rendering him paralyzed and powerless to thwart the villain's schemes. Bruce decided to give Jean-Paul Valley the Batman costume so that he can defend Gotham City until he's fit enough to resume as Batman. Bruce healed from his paralysis and regained his mobility with Lady Shiva's assistance. Thinking that he was better equipped for the position, Jean-Paul was unwilling to give up the mantle and fought Bruce to preserve it. He impaled Bruce from behind and defeated the Bat family. Then he ruled Gotham for 30 years as Saint Batman by burning down areas of Gotham to purge crime. Gotham was declared a no-man's land. He started taking venom and got addicted to it. He killed Bane in front of his son, Torn. Once a year, he would visit Bruce in his captivity to seek approval, but Bruce despised his methods. In the course, Jean-Paul started getting more insane and started having visions of Saint Dumas. Meanwhile, a resistance was planned against his rule. We'll learn what happened to him in the next part of the story, which is coming right up. Dark Multiverse. Batman, the Broken. This version of Batman first appeared in Tales from the Dark Multiverse, Batman, Nightfall. He was created by Scott Snyder, Kyle Higgins, and Javier Fernandez. He was the Bruce Wayne of the same world where Saint Batman operated for 30 years. After crippling Bruce Wayne by impaling him from behind, Jean-Paul decided not to kill Bruce. Bruce was confined inside Wayne Towers and kept alive by machines after having most of his limbs severed from his body. Jean-Paul referred to Bruce as the Broken. Jean-Paul visited Bruce for approval once a year. During one of their encounters, Bruce not only expressed his contempt for Jean-Paul's actions, but also predicted that he would eventually lose control of Gotham, since he was aging and overly dependent on the strength-enhancing drug Venom. Jean-Paul, however, appeared to disregard Bruce's assertion. While Jean-Paul was driven toward insanity for the overusage of Venom, Lady Shiva and Bane's son Torn rescued Bruce from captivity. They restored him with nanotechnology. During a final face-off, Saint Batman tore off Torn's arm and drank the venom from the wound. Then he attacked Bruce and Shiva, but Torn hit Saint Batman from behind with his own weapon and broke his back. But before Shiva and Torn could kill Saint Batman, Bruce the Broken killed them both instead. Bruce vowed that no one will ever tarnish or pervert the Batman persona anymore. Then Bruce proclaimed his return as Batman, and Jean-Paul was hung from a bridge. So ended the story of Nightfall in the Dark Multiverse. Dark Multiverse, The Silenced. This Batman made his debut in Tales from the Dark Multiverse, Batman Hush. It was released on November 3rd, 2020. It was written by Philip Kennedy Johnson and drawn by Dexter Soy. After Bruce's parents were slain, the Elliots raised Bruce Wayne. Thomas Elliot, whose parents died in a car accident, had ties made through his relationship with Talia al Ghul, the leader of the League of Assassins. Thanks to those connections, Thomas grew up to become the senator of Gotham and the CEO of Wayne Enterprises. They converted Gotham into a militarized city-state with the aid of other elites in Gotham, inspiring Barbara Gordon to organize the Outsiders after the corrupt police killed her father. With the assistance of Dr. Jonathan Crane, the facility's head scientist, Thomas also managed to get Bruce admitted to Arkham Asylum. Crane and a number of other members of Gotham's elite were assaulted and taken hostage by a man wearing a bat costume covered in bandages. Meanwhile, the League of Assassins and the Court of Owls were engaged in a power battle in the city. Richard Grayson, the head of security for President Lincoln March, first offered Thomas protection, but after learning that Thomas was vying for the Wayne family riches and the presidency and that he and the Batman are related, Grayson became hostile. The two were later taken prisoner by Batman, who also imprisons other members of Gotham's elite there. The bandaged man, referred to as the Silenced, turned out to be an insane Bruce Wayne. It was revealed that Bruce had learned from Alfred that Thomas had orchestrated the murder of Jim Gordon's parents as well as his parents. Later, Bruce and Alfred set up Jack Napier as a handyman at Arkham so they could pretend Bruce had died and give him access to various prisoners who could teach him how to fight well. In the final face-off, Bruce attacked Thomas and apprehended him. Thomas and the rest of Gotham's elite were kept in cages that were monitored by Jack and a near-delusional Alfred. The Silenced observed as Talia started dating President Lincoln March. In the end, the Silenced decided that his next targets were the Court of Owls and League of Assassins. Dark Multiverse, The Batman Who Frags. This version of Batman made his debut in Dark Knight's Death Metal Infinite Hour Extreme, issue number 1 in January 2021. He was created by Frank Thierry and Tyler Kirkham. This Batman belonged to a world in the Dark Multiverse. Being unwise, Batman gave himself an injection of Lobo's DNA, giving him superhuman strength, but at the cost of developing an aggressive, drunken, and violent attitude similar to Lobo. He changed his moniker to Batman Who Frags and began killing his foes rather than apprehending them. During the Death Metal event, the Batman Who Frags was assigned to stop the real Lobo from gaining the potent Death Metal. Lobo finally obtained the metal after months of evading the Batman Who Frags. He then imprisoned the Batman Who Frags inside Loboland, his own realm that he'd created. The Batman Who Frags was last seen being attacked by the Justice League of Loboland. The Batman Who Frags has Zonian physiology. As such, he's an immortal being. Given time, he can regenerate from a single drop of blood. He possesses superhuman strength, durability, agility, and can survive without oxygen in space. Dark Multiverse, Dark Father. This Batman debuted in Dark Knight's Death Metal issue number 1 in August 2020. He was created by Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo. In this world in the Dark Multiverse, after defeating the evil deity Darkseid, Batman absorbed his powers and took on his appearance. In addition, he learned to control the anti-life equation and transformed the Apocalypse Parademons into Para-Robins, giving them the same attire as his companion Robin. He eventually retired after giving the Superman of his planet control over the anti-life, but he joined Batman Who Laughs Dark Knights in order to invade Earth-Zero as part of a deal with Perpetua. The Titans, Teen Titans, and Superman of Main Earth banded together to defeat him, but failed. Ordered by the Batman Who Laughs, Darkfather built New Apokolips in the sun's core, which was destroyed in battle with Perpetua. He imprisoned Superman there to extract power from his solar-charged cell. With the help of Mr. Miracle, he acquired the blueprint of a death drive to expunge all Kryptonians if they didn't submit to anti-life. Batman, Wonder Woman, and Harley Quinn attacked New Apokolips to free Superman. As Wonder Woman's troops stormed into Darkfather's headquarters, he engaged her directly before ordering the Para-Robins to assault the other members. He fired Omega beams from a pistol at Batman as he was attempting to rescue Superman, but they had no impact. He ordered the anti-life equation to murder Superman after seeing him free himself, but Batman's Black Lantern ring kept him safe. Then Superman punched him, sending him flying out of New Apokolips. Darkfather has got new god's physiology, hence he's immortal. He has got godlike strength and is nearly indestructible. He also controls the anti-life equation to make others submit to his will. Dark Multiverse, The Grim Knight. This Batman made his first appearance in The Batman Who Laughs Volume 2, Issue Number 1, in February 2019. He was created by Scott Snyder and Jock. On the fateful night, Joe Chill shot Bruce's parents and dropped his gun while he was searching for Martha's pearls. In his anguish, Bruce took the chance to pick up Joe Chill's gun and shot him. He would spend the next several years of his life traveling and learning how to fight and murder from the mercenaries and assassins he encountered. He realized he needed a symbol to create fear in the minds of these criminals. He shot a bat when it crashed through his window, and this served as his inspiration to become the Batman. To wage war against crime, he kept arsenals of weapons hidden around Gotham City. He brutally killed all criminals and corrupt across Gotham, including the entire GCPD, and made Gordon watch. Gordon later set forth on a quest to arrest him when he deduced that Bruce is the Grim Knight. He was later recruited by the Batman Who Laughs to be his second in line of command and infect Main Earth. He confronted Gordon and his son James in the Batcave of Main Earth. While he was choking Gordon, James had a change of heart and stabbed him multiple times in the shoulder. The Grim Knight passed out from the excessive bleeding. Later, during the death metal event, it was shown that he had been revived and he kept guard over Castle Bat. He is an expert marksman and a master of martial arts. He is a brilliant hacker and can drive planes to fall from the sky by hacking them. He's a master of weaponry and has his arsenal stashed all across Gotham. Dark Multiverse, Robin King. Robin King made his first appearance in Dark Knight's Death Metal Issue Number 2 in September 2020. He was created by Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo. This version of Bruce Wayne from the Dark Multiverse had been a troubled boy since childhood. He committed multiple acts of violence and hid them from his parents and Alfred. Alfred knew the truth, but he held on to the hope that Bruce was still good. When Bruce and his parents confronted Joe Chill, Bruce stabbed Chill and shot his own parents. At their funeral, he heard a Robin cheer and was inspired by it. He took on the Robin King moniker and started killing off heroes and villains alike. He shot Gordon through the jugular and bashed Alfred's head in, killing both. He killed Flash, Anton and Abigail Arcane, the Swamp Thing, and also Harley Quinn. In order to transform individuals into the life-devouring anti-living, he also updated the anti-life equation. When his world was collapsing, the Batman Who Laughs took him to Earth 22 and made him one of his goblins and ruled over that Earth. Robin King still held to his consciousness after swallowing a cosmic pill. He later joined Laughs as his personal Robin. He was eventually defeated during the Death Metal event after a battle with Batman and his family, when Batman resurrected everyone with a Black Lantern ring. This version of Bruce Wayne suffered from hyperviolence and addiction to homicide. He had genius-level intellect and had designed plans to murder every superhero on his Earth. Dark Multiverse, The Red Death. The Red Death Batman made his debut in Dark Days, the casting issue number 1 in September 2017. He was created by Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo. The Gotham City of Earth 52 took its toll on Batman and killed all of his sidekicks, prompting Bruce to look for more drastic measures to halt the crimes he thought he wasn't quick enough to stop. Batman decided that he could wield the Speed Force more effectively than the Speedster himself, so he set his eyes on the Flash from his universe. Batman eliminated all of the rogues for the Flash and grabbed their weapons, which he then used to combat the Flash for his abilities. After Bruce defeated Barry, he used his Batmobile, which had combined with the Cosmic Treadmill to run into the Speed Force and absorb the Flash with his abilities. Barry's awareness was continually begging with Batman to stop, but Bruce emerged from the Speed Force dressed as Batman, the Red Death. He then started killing members of his own rogues gallery in Gotham. When his dark world started collapsing, he was recruited by the Batman Who Laughs to be a part of Barbatos's Dark Knights and attack Main Earth. In the final act of the Metal event, when the expansion of the universe was taking place, Multiverse, Red Death was hit with pure white energy that expunged the Bruce Wayne persona, and the Barry Allen of Earth 52 took over. He pleaded with the Flash of Main Earth to run an escape while he held off the expansion. He disintegrated when the expansion happened and died a hero. He has all the powers of the Flash, including superhuman speed, reflexes, stamina, and agility. Together with that, he had all the prowess of Batman. Dark Multiverse, The Murder Machine. The Murder Machine Batman made his debut in Dark Days, the casting issue #1 in September 2017. He was created by Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo. On Earth 44, when Bruce was a little kid, his parents were murdered and Alfred Pennyworth, his butler, reared him. He adopted the persona of Batman as an adult to combat crime, and he later joined the Justice League as one of its original members. Finally, members of Batman's Rogues Gallery brutally killed Alfred in the Batcave. As a result, Batman developed a sense of guilt over Alfred's passing since he felt it was his responsibility. He made the hero Cyborg a request at Alfred's burial, asking for assistance in developing an artificial intelligence version of Alfred who could assist him with the tasks Alfred used to perform. Bruce and Cyborg started constructing the Alfred Protocol when Cyborg volunteered to help. This protocol was created to be housed in a hologram that could manifest actual weapons if required, and it was tasked with helping and defending Bruce in any way it could. The Alfred Protocol quickly started replicating new robotic enhancements and holograms after being triggered, spreading like a virus. After just a day of activation, it went through Arkham Asylum, killing every convict since it saw them as threats to Batman. Cyborg begged for his removal. Batman's consciousness, however, was taken over by the protocol in order to protect himself. Bruce's biological body was replaced with a mechanical one that would never fail him after Alfred removed his capacity for fear and grief. The protocol considered everyone a threat to Bruce, so Bruce started a campaign of mass murder. He killed Cyborg and the entire Justice League of Earth 44. When reality came crumbling down, the Batman Who Laughs offered him a place in Barbatos's army. The Justice League of Main Earth fought the Murder Machine with the help of the armor built from Element X by Hal Jordan. His nanobot body disintegrated into pieces during the fight. The cybernetic upgrades on Bruce give him extraordinary strength, endurance, and durability. The Murder Machine can interface with any technology. He has the ability to divide himself into several drone bodies, and so becomes almost omnipresent. The Murder Machine is capable of ejecting energy blasts. He is a master strategist and martial artist, like Bruce. Dark Multiverse, The Dawnbreaker. The Dawnbreaker Batman made his debut in Dark Days, the casting issue #1 in September 2017. He was created by Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo. On Earth 32, like any other Earth, Bruce's parents were murdered by Joe Chill. Bruce ran away, but his soul was filled with a void, expunging all emotion from his heart and soul. A nearby Green Lantern ring flew to him, offering him a place in the Green Lantern Corps. He wore the ring and attacked Joe Chill. When he ordered the ring to kill Chill, the ring denied, as it didn't have the directives to take a life. Bruce imposed his void on the ring and overrode the directive, which overcharged the ring beyond limits. He killed Chill with the ring, then went to his parents' grave and resurrected them as zombies. When he started his killing spree, he stuck only to the criminals. But when Gordon stopped him, he killed him too. He grew so limitlessly powerful that he killed the entire Green Lantern Corps and the Guardians of the Universe and entered the power battery to consume it. He became Batman, the Dawnbreaker. His world started crumbling too, as it was destined to. The Batman Who Laughs recruited him into Barbatos's army to destroy Main Earth. He fought and defeated most of them, but in the end he was removed from existence when the heroes connected with the souls of every being on Earth and the power from the source using their costumes of Element X and created a new reality. Dawnbreaker had unrivaled determination. He was able to break his ring shortly after receiving it, allowing it to capture the abyss of darkness inside him. Together with that, he had the resources and the indomitable nature of Bruce. Dark Multiverse, The Drowned. The Drowned is a Bat Maiden who made his debut in Dark Days, the casting issue #1 in September 2017. She was created by Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo. Sylvester Kyle, the love interest of Bruce Wayne, the Batwoman of Earth 11, was assassinated by a group of unruly metahumans. Batwoman killed every metahuman on Earth's surface over the course of the following 18 months in order to get revenge on Sylvester. Heartbroken and furious, she had lost faith in all metahumans. Eventually, the Atlanteans under the command of Aquawoman broke the surface in an effort to make peace with land residents. When peace negotiations with the surface became bitter, Batwoman attacked Aquawoman and murdered her by impaling the monarch with her trident. Gotham City was entirely flooded by the Atlanteans and submerged underwater. Batwoman, who was desperate to confront the Atlantean troops, made the decision to surgically change her physiology and genetics in order to have a greater chance of surviving them. She also chose to construct an army of monsters she dubbed Dead Water to help her in the battle. She killed all the Atlanteans and submerged the entire world underwater and illuminated Gotham with her bat signal. But when the lights went out and the world started crumbling, Batman Who Laughs appeared and presented her with an opportunity to conquer the multiverse as one of the Dark Knights of Barbatos. She fought the entire Justice League of Main Earth during the Dark Knight's Metal event. In the final battle, she was killed by the Aquaman of Main Earth when he impaled her with his trident. With her surgical implants, she became a complete amphibian and was able to breathe on land as well as underwater. She has hydrokinetic power similar to that of Mira. Just like Aquaman, she could summon dead water life and make them work as per her will. She had enhanced healing and superhuman strength, durability, and speed. Dark Multiverse, The Merciless. The Merciless is a Batman who made his debut in Dark Days, the casting issue #1, in September 2017. He was created by Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo. On Earth 12, Bruce Wayne's parents were murdered, and he became Batman when he grew up to fight crime. He had taken a vow to fight for justice and always show mercy, unlike his opponents. War broke out in an effort to hold Ares, the Greek god of war, when he built a helmet that multiplied his abilities 100-fold. Batman and Wonder Woman battled side by side for 2 years. Bruce and Diana fell in love when the conflict was going on. To put a stop to the god of war's reign of terror once and for all, Bruce and his companions promised to kill Ares. Batman and Diana managed to get the helmet off of Ares, but Diana was badly hurt in the fight. Believing that Diana had died, Bruce wore the helmet out of rage and killed Ares. But he was corrupted by the power of the helmet, and he realized that his code of mercy was not of any worth. He became Batman the Merciless. He was so heavily drunk on power that he even killed Diana when she tried to stop him. He killed all the heroes and villains alike. With no end to his madness, he went on and killed all the gods in Themyscira. Similar to the other worlds in Multiverse, his world was also ending, and he was recruited by Batman Who Laughs in Barbatos' army. He was removed from existence with the white light of the Source when the heroes connected to it. The Merciless's helmet magnifies all of Ares' abilities 100 times and let him use them. The Valhalla Warhead's full power, which might kill every life in the solar system, can be absorbed by him. This is due to his influence as the god of battle and as the center and soul of Mount Olympus in his universe. Merciless can manipulate any sentient being to become enraged and go into a fight. With the helmet on, he can even look into the souls of mankind, control them and make them worship him. He also owned the Golden Drachma, an object made from all the gold coins from the Themyscira's deceased Amazons that were melted. The Merciless could command an army of restless warrior spirits by wringing the enormous piece of currency. Dark Multiverse, The Devastator. The Devastator is a Batman who made his debut in Dark Days, the casting issue #1 in September 2017. He was created by Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo. The Batman of Earth 1 had never put much faith in Superman because he was worried that one day he might turn evil. Unfortunately, Batman's nightmare would come true when Superman abruptly killed Lois Lane and started brutalizing individuals without explanation. Batman used a kryptonite-tipped spear to fight Superman, but it was quickly destroyed when Superman severed the arm Batman was holding the spear in. To Superman's surprise, Batman injected himself with a modified Doomsday virus and turned into a Doomsday creature. He overpowered Superman and impaled him through the chest, killing him. The Doomsday virus started to spread throughout the globe and turned everyone into mindless, ravaging beasts. Batman accepted the Batman Who Laughs invitation to join the Dark Knights after it became clear that he couldn't stop the virus from spreading and that the world was about to die. He became known within the team as the Devastator. While fighting the Justice League of Main Earth, he was incapacitated by Superman in the final battle and was expunged by the white light of Source. Apart from all of Batman's talents, the Devastator had unstoppable brute strength, and no hero or villain of his Earth was a match for him. He was the carrier of the Doomsday virus that turned everyone in his vicinity into Doomsday monsters. Dark Multiverse, The Batman Who Laughs. The Batman Who Laughs made his debut in Dark Days, the casting issue #1 in September 2017. He was created by Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo. When the Earth 22 Joker discovered that Batman is actually Bruce Wayne, he murdered most of the other Batman rogues along with Commissioner Gordon. Then, after giving thousands of residents of Gotham City the chemicals that altered him, he killed a number of parents in front of their children to make fun of Bruce. During their battle, Batman unintentionally killed the Joker, unleashing a concentrated version of the Joker toxin from Joker's body. Combining the Joker's psychopathy and sadistic sense of humor with Bruce Wayne's intellect and physical prowess, this toxin eventually transformed Bruce into a new hybrid of Batman and the Joker. Following this, the Batman Who Laughs conquered Earth-22, eliminating the majority of his friends and transforming Damian Wayne into a miniature Joker, while enlisting the kids affected by the Joker toxin as his rabid Robins. Laughs was recruited by Barbatos as his second-in-command while he attacked Main Earth. During the Dark Knights Metal event, he appeared on Main Earth with Barbatos' Dark Knights and started wreaking havoc. His aim was to destroy all of existence by connecting the Over-Monitor to Anti-Monitor's astral brain. He was eventually stopped by Batman and Joker. He was imprisoned by Lex Luthor, but he told Lex the secret of the Source Wall and was somehow set free. He attacked Bruce with the aid of other corrupted Batmen from the Dark Multiverse. In retaliation, Bruce infected himself with Joker toxin and turned into a version of Laughs. He fought and defeated Laughs, and was revived by Alfred. Laughs was locked up in the Hall of Justice. During the Death Metal event, he made a pact with Perpetua and tried to take over Main Earth with his new Dark Knights. He transplanted the brain of Batman into himself and turned into the Darkest Knight, the most powerful Batman in existence. He was killed by Wonder Woman in the final battle when she hurled him into the sun. The Batman Who Laughs is shown as possessing all of Batman's skills in addition to the Joker's sick nihilism. He has the ability to view people's dark desires and anxieties as alternative manifestations of their present behavior. His distinctive metal crown serves as a futuristic visor constructed of dark metal, enabling him to filter these activities, predict his opponent's future movements in battle, and mentally influence them. The Batman Who Laughs also employs dark metal batarangs, which have the power to bring out the worst aspects of the victim. Dark Multiverse Baby Batman. This version of Batman debuted in Dark Knights Death Metal Legends of the Dark Knights issue number 1 in October 2020. The issue was written by Scott Snyder, James Tynion IV, Joshua Williamson, and Tony S. Daniel. On his Earth, Batman had fought his rogues gallery throughout his life. When he became old, he pondered on how to create a contingency so that there is a Batman to save Gotham even after his death. So he created a new body where he could pass on his consciousness. When he passed on, he had his mind restored to cyberspace. His consciousness was immediately downloaded into the new body, but to much of his horror, that body was still a baby. He expressed disappointment and realized that he had too much vulnerability that his adversaries might exploit, but he persisted in living as Batman, identifying himself as the guardian of Gotham and the terror of the underworld. He was recruited into the second Dark Knights team by Batman Who Laughs under the orders of Perpetua, Mother of the Universe. He systematically fought and incapacitated the heroes of Main Earth. On Earth 3, he got into an altercation with the traitorous Owlman over their existence, and they fought as Owlman destroyed the tuning forks that were empowering Perpetua. In the end, Owlman blew up Earth 3's tuning fork, killing both of them with it. He's basically Bruce Wayne in the body of a baby. While he is a comic relief at some points, he's actually extremely dark and brutal, a true dark soldier of Perpetua. Dark Multiverse Batmansaurus Rex. This version of Batman debuted in Dark Knights Death Metal Legends of the Dark Knights issue number 1 in October 2020. The issue was written by Scott Snyder, James Tynion IV, Joshua Williamson, and Tony S. Daniel. Having crippled arms and being buried beneath the rubble left behind by his Batcave's collapse, Batman uploaded his mind into his mechanical T-Rex. Although the upload was successful, he soon realized that his fierce battle against crime had been in vain, since he had wasted time trying to capture the supervillains alive. He made the decision to attack Arkham Asylum and used his new body to rip through the personnel and prisoners. He was recruited as one of Perpetua's army by the Batman Who Laughs. After the brain of Laughs was implanted in the final Bruce Wayne's body and he became the Darkest Knight, he obliterated B-Rex, stating that he didn't need him. But later, the Darkest Knight resurrected him to fight the heroes in the last stand of the multiverse. B-Rex was easily overpowered by Solomon Grundy. Besides having Batman's intellect and consciousness, B-Rex had the immense strength of a dinosaur and was able to cause havoc and destruction. However, his reach was limited due to his short hands. Dark Multiverse Batmobeast, the Road Warrior. Road Warrior debuted in Dark Knights Death Metal Legends of the Dark Knights issue number 1 in October 2020. The issue was written by Scott Snyder, James Tynion IV, Joshua Williamson, and Tony S. Daniel. When this Batman's world ran out of fuel, it descended into anarchy, and Batman made the decision to upload his consciousness into every computerized and digital system. He soon had control over the whole planet as part of his surveillance state and was everywhere. But people all throughout the world stood up and made the decision to fight back, obliterating everything that held his consciousness murdered him in person. The monstrous truck, which referred to itself as Batmobile, was the only item that still had Batman's consciousness. He was recruited as one of Perpetua's armies by Batman Who Laughs. Later, Wonder Woman, Swamp Thing, and Wally West kidnapped and hacked into him so they could use him to safely navigate the hellscape to the Valhalla Cemetery. When Batmobile was not given a response to his question about where he was, he claimed that he was the most intelligent machine on his globe. He responded to a humorous question from Swamp Thing, who then made fun of him and advised him to try harder the next time. He was then terminated by a furious Swamp Thing who destroyed his computer systems. Batmobile had the consciousness of Bruce Wayne and could connect to anything and everything digital, but was limited by this technological reliability as he could be easily hacked into. Dark Multiverse, Castle Bat. Castle Bat first appeared in Dark Knight's Death Metal Legends of the Dark Knights issue number 1 in October 2020. The issue was written by Scott Snyder, James Tynion IV, Joshua Williamson, and Tony S. Daniel. This version of Batman from the Dark Multiverse fought crime for many years until he grew old. His son Damien took over as Batman. But Bruce was not satisfied with the way Damien operated and thought that he was not a good enough Batman. He performed a 17th century cultist rite and made a pact with the ancient Native American bat deity. The deity promised higher blessings if he sacrificed a loved one. Damien was lured by Bruce and then fatally stabbed and killed. As a reward, Bruce's essence was merged with Gotham, transforming him into a living city. He used this to purge Gotham of all of its out-of-control criminals while wreaking havoc. He attacked Main Earth as one of Perpetua's army. In a very short time, Castle Bat took the place of Gotham on Main Earth. In little than a week, Batman Who Laughs had seized control of the city and divided it into its own separate continent. Later, Lex Luthor tweaked the Brainiac algorithm to put his soul into a glass orb that contained a replica of Gotham City. Then Harley Quinn crushed the orb, killing the Castle Bat once and for all. Castle Bat had an entire city controlled by his consciousness, so he could do anything, anywhere in the city, and his adversaries were not able to stop him. He was pretty one-note and cared only about Gotham. As a result, he also took deep care about the Gotham he replaced on Main Earth. Dark Multiverse, Baphomet. Baphomet made his first appearance in Dark Knight's Death Metal issue number 1 in 2020. He was created by Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo. The Batman of this Earth accidentally released Baphomet, an ancient subterranean beast, as he was drilling for minerals in the ocean. Later, Baphomet began dressing like Batman by donning his cowl, and the Batman Who Laughs enlisted him into the Dark Knights in order to conquer Main Earth as part of a deal with Perpetua. He defeated the Suicide Squad, and he then attacked Atlantis. When Aquaman realized he would murder every Atlantean, he gave up. After Aquaman was appointed the manager of the Seven Seas by the Batman Who Laughs, Baphomet was given the responsibility of keeping an eye on him. Baphomet is a Lovecraftian monster who had command over ancient magic. He could boil the ocean's water with just his thoughts. He's extremely powerful and has superhuman strength. Dark Multiverse, Mindhunter. Mindhunter made his first appearance in Dark Knight's Death Metal Trinity Crisis issue number 1 in November 2020. This issue was written by Scott Snyder and drawn by Francis Manapul. The evil Batman of this world extracted the DNA from Martian Manhunter and merged it with his own, making himself as strong as Superman. Later, the Batman Who Laughs enlisted him into the Dark Knights for his invasion of Main Earth in accordance with a deal with Perpetua. As a guard at Castle Bat, Mindhunter served under the Grim Knight's direction. He later fought the Martian Manhunter of Main Earth and overpowered him to know the plans of Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. Apart from having the mind of Bruce Wayne, Mindhunter had all the prowess of Martian Manhunter, including shape-shifting, superhuman strength, and telepathy. Dark Multiverse, Quietus. Quietus first appeared in Dark Knight's Death Metal Robin King, issue number 1, in December 2020. This issue was written by Peter Tomasi and drawn by Riley Rossmo. When the Duke Thomas of this Earth died, Batman held himself responsible for his death. He made it his mission to resurrect Duke by using one of Ra's Lazarus pits. However, Ra's intervened and the two went into battle. Batman managed to overpower Ra's and kill him, but he fell into the pit with Duke and Ra's body. In the pit, all their consciousness got tangled and the being known only as Quietus emerged. He came to Main Earth as one of the soldiers of Perpetua and went into battle to Duke Thomas of that Earth in the Gotham Narrows. Duke took the help of Tim Drake, Spoiler, and Orphan and defeated Quietus. Quietus has got superhuman strength and is borderline insane. Also, his vomit can cause his opponents to hallucinate and see visions of Dark Multiverse. Dark Multiverse Bat-Mage. Bat-Mage made his debut in Dark Knight's Death Metal issue number 1 in August 2020. This issue was written by Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo. The Bruce Wayne of this Dark Earth learned the mystic arts and dark magic from the magician Giovanni Zatara. He trained himself and mastered chaos magic instead of becoming a crime fighter. He then took up the mantle of Bat and killed the sorcerer Mordru and bound Etrigan to his own soul and conquered his own Earth. He absorbed Spectre's power and used it to power his magic wand. When he appeared on main Earth as the soldier of Perpetua, he overpowered the Amazons with his Bat demon horde from Hell and subdued them. He was disintegrated by the Darkest Night as he believed he didn't require the assistance of the Bat-Mage. Later, he was resurrected during the last battle of Multiverse and fought alongside the Batman Who Laughs. He is a master of chaos magic and can summon the demon Etrigan to do his bidding. He can also summon bat creatures from Hell to obliterate his opponents. Dark Multiverse Dr. Arkham. Dr. Arkham made his debut in Dark Knight's Death Metal issue number 1 in August 2020. This issue was written by Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo. In his world from the Dark Multiverse, Bruce Wayne used to fight crime as Batman, but down the line he was intrigued with conducting various psychological experiments on criminals as well as conducting tortures over them. He took up the moniker of Dr. Arkham and continued his sick hobby. He eventually came to main Earth as one of Perpetua's soldiers and helped evil Batmen to subdue Captain Atom. The Batmen followed his orders and blasted at Captain Atom continuously, only to cause a nuclear explosion that destroyed the entire west coast of the USA. Harley Quinn was appointed the caretaker of the irradiated region of land, which came to be called the Arkham Wastelands. She was in turn supervised by Dr. Arkham. Batman and Wonder Woman approached Harley so that she could take them to Toy Master's vault located in the Wastelands. In the vault was located the Trinity rocket which Batman and Wonder Woman would use to go to Apokolips and free Superman. However, Dr. Arkham attacked them with a gun filled with lichen bullets that can make anyone insane. Harry unleashed his mutated hyena George on Arkham, and George killed and devoured him. Arkham possessed genius-level intellect and was a master in creating psychological toxins. Dark Multiverse Batman, the Dragon of the End. This version of Batman made his debut in Tales from the Dark Multiverse, Dark Knight's Metal issue number 1 in February 2021. This issue was written by Scott Snyder, Jackson Lansing and Colin Kelly, and drawn by Carl Mostert. The Batman of this world from the Dark Multiverse was similar to his main Earth counterpart. He operated as the crime-fighting Batman in Gotham City and trained multiple pupils under him. During a crisis event, he was hurled back in time, and the Dark God Barbatos marked him. Barbatos planned to use this version of Batman as a conduit to the multiverse. When Barbatos followed and attacked this Earth with the Batman as an entry point, the Batman and the Justice League put on the costumes made of Element X to battle him. But those costumes were booby-trapped and transformed them into monsters, except for Bruce. Bruce was made into the image of Barbatos himself. Barbatos started a cosmos-wide death wave with his army called Dragons of the Bat. Then he came back to his own Earth, Earth Metal, which was now protected by his pupil Duke Thomas and a new Justice League. Barbatos and Duke fought, and Duke teleported inside Barbatos. There he discovered Bruce's remains and detached it from Barbatos, killing him. He was a full-fledged bat dragon with claws and fangs and wings, deemed indestructible by his opponents. He was able to generate an anti-music that can damage reality itself. Dark Multiverse Bat Manhattan. Bat Manhattan, aka the final Bruce Wayne, made his first appearance in Dark Knight's Death Metal issue number 1 in August 2020. It was written by Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo. This Earth's Bruce Wayne found a comedian's button from the Watchmen universe during the event's preceding rebirth event on this Earth. He was intrigued by the strange cosmic energy emanating from the button and decided to experiment on it. He built an intrinsic field generator and tried to replicate the energy source. However, the Batman Who Laughs was watching him the entire time, and he tampered with the machine. When Bruce entered the machine to examine it, Laughs shut the doors closed and turned the machine on, disintegrating Bruce. Bruce later reformed, just like Dr. Manhattan, but was lobotomized by Laughs using an energy knife. Laughs kept him hidden as his final insurance. He was brought into the main Earth by Laughs during Perpetua's attack. When Laughs was killed by Wonder Woman's invisible chainsaw, he used his contingency and transplanted his brain into the body of Bat Manhattan with the help of Batmage and various Alfreds. And then he gained unlimited power, transforming himself into the Darkest Night. Bat Manhattan had all the reality-altering powers of Dr. Manhattan from the Watchmen universe. He could reconstruct his body from nothingness. He also had the prowess of shapeshifting, superhuman speed, and telepathy. Dark Multiverse, The Darkest Knight. The Darkest Knight made his first appearance in death metal Legends of the Dark Knights one-shot. This issue was written by Scott Snyder, James Tynion IV, Joshua Williamson, and drawn by Tony S. Daniel. When Laughs transplanted his brain into Batman Hatton's body, he turned into a thing from darkness, an omni-powerful Batman, the Darkest Knight. He stole the Speed Force from the Flashes and then went to battle Perpetua. He killed Perpetua by binding her to the Source Wall. He resurrected all the Dark Knights and made a new Dark Knights army in order to fight the entire multiverse. He wanted to create the entire existence in his own image, the last 52. In the final battle, a golden-armored Wonder Woman faced off with the Darkest Knight. They fought through the barriers of time and space. Darkest Knight punched Wonder Woman to the past and brought her to the beginning of the universe, where they witnessed Perpetua's hand creating the Big Bang. Wonder Woman punched him with Perpetua's hand and then kept punching him through timelines, ultimately reaching the end of the universe and witnessing the Death Sun. When the hands of Perpetua and her people attacked the Darkest Knight, he was thrown into the Death Sun and killed once and for all. Dark Multiverse, Supporting Cast of Batman. Together with all the Batmen mentioned till now, let's also look into the supporting cast of Batmen from other dark multiverses who played a part in the attack on main Earth during the Metal and Death Metal event. Even if their contributions were off-panel, their existence can't be denied. Amongst the other Batmen, there was Bat-Mazo, a combination of Batman and Amazo. There was Batum, a combination of Batman and Atom. He could grow small using his bio belt. He was unfortunately run over by Batmobeast when it was hacked by the heroes. There was Warbat, who was a combination of Batman and Mongol. There was Black Monday, who was a combination of Batman and Solomon Grundy. There, the Night Glider, who was a combination of Batman and Marvel Silver Surfer, and used a surfboard similar to him. Then there was Batrocitus, who was a combination of Batman and Atrocitus, the leader of the Red Lanterns. We had the Collector in the team, who was a combination of Batman and Brainiac, and was a collector of worlds with a 13th level intelligence. The Collector, Batrocitus, and Night Glider died when an undead Jonah Hex detonated a bomb and took them with him. We had Chiropter in the team, who was a combination of Batman and Chemo. Then we had the Beyonder in the team, who was a combination of Batman and Red Tornado. He was killed by the Darkest Knight as he thought Beyonder was of no use to him. A big round of applause for all of them. Animated Universe. Now we'll take a dive into the different versions of Batman in the animated universe. Batman Beyond, Terry McGinnis. Terrence Terry McGinnis Wayne first debuted in the animated series Batman Beyond and was created by Bruce Timm and Paul Dini and voiced by Will Friedle. Terry was born in a future Gotham City to Warren McGinnis, a research scientist at Wayne Powers, and Mary McGinnis, an astrophysicist. He was a rowdy kid while growing up. He ran with street gangs and also served a juvenile sentence. Bruce had retired from being Batman for 20 years since he was having heart problems. When Terry was attacked by the Jokers, he ran into the Wayne Manor and was saved by Bruce. He took a wounded Bruce inside the manor and discovered that he was the Batman. Terry's father was killed by the Jokers, and he deduced that the new leader of Wayne Powers, Derek Powers, was behind it. Derek was mass-producing biological weapons which Terry's father somehow knew, so he was killed. Terry asked for Bruce's help in order to apprehend Derek. Bruce gave Terry his futuristic batsuit, thus making Terry the Batman of the future. With the help of Bruce, Terry was able to bring Derek down. He worked as Bruce's personal secretary and also the Batman, with Bruce always on call to help him. In the Justice League episode, Project Batman Beyond, it was revealed by Amanda Waller that she took Bruce's DNA and modified it to give birth to Terry, so that world always had a Batman. As such, Terry becomes a true heir to Bruce and a true Batman by blood and right as well. Terry is a skilled street fighter and a martial artist. He's a brilliant detective, thanks to Bruce's DNA. He uses futuristic tech and is able to fly, thanks to the Batsuit of the future. Justice League, Gods and Monsters, Kirk Langstrom. This version of Batman appeared in the animated movie Justice League, Gods and Monsters in 2015. Kirk Langstrom spent 3 years studying under Dr. Lex Luthor at Gotham University. Kirk was handed a lymphatic cancer diagnosis while residing in Gotham City. He fought against it and tried to defeat it using a substance called bat venom in an effort to treat his cancer on his own. He took the help of Will Magnus and injected himself with a blend of nanites and bat venom. The serum turned him into a blood-sucking vampire. He then tracked down the serial killer, Harley Quinn, and tore into her jugular and drank all of her blood. He hunted down criminals to begin with and came to be known as this world's Batman. He later joined the Superman and Wonder Woman from his Earth to form the Justice League. After dispersing the adversaries, Kirk worked with Superman in putting Kryptonian technology to the best use for his world. As he's a vampire, Kirk is blessed with superhuman speed and agility. He's a brilliant scientist and has dedicated his life to work for the betterment of the human race. The Brave and the Bold, Bat-Hulk. We also get to see multiple versions of Batman in the animated series Batman the Brave and the Bold. It aired from 2008 to 2011. Let's get introduced to the Batman from the animated series. One of the numerous Batmen from around the multiverse that helped Batman in his battle with Owlman was Bat-Hulk. To gain Batman's attention, the Riddler, Joker, and Penguin worked together to conduct a slew of crimes. Batman stumbled into a trap during his investigation. He was exposed to a Joker toxin, and after that, Batman periodically transformed into a beast known as Bat-Hulk. Bat-Hulk was bigger and more powerful than Batman, with immense strength. The Brave and the Bold, Robot Batman. Robot Batman fought against injustice and crime in the dystopian future. The personification of Equinox kidnapped and tormented him. Robot Batman, however, found the strength to break free of his bonds when he encountered the Justice League International of the 21st century and called upon Cave Batman, Pirate Batman, and Batmanicus. The four Batmen neutralized Equinox as a group and restored the continuity of space and time. Robot Batman and Batman of the Justice League International greeted each other as they arrived with Rip Hunter. The Brave and the Bold, Cave Batman. A lone caveman resolved to exact justice after nearly being slain by a group of Neanderthals. He built a base of operations, assembled a tool arsenal, donned a big bat's pelt, and adopted a woolly mammoth as a traveling companion. He took up the moniker Cave Batman, potentially the very first Batman ever. After surviving the Batman Revenge Squad, he was transported to the future by Robot Batman to fight the Equinox fragment. Brave and the Bold, Batmanicus. One guy stood up and spoke out against slavery in ancient Rome. He went by the name Batmanicus. Batmanicus carried out attacks on Roman slavers with the assistance of his chariot and dependable horse. Even Aquaman and Fire, who had been imprisoned, were let free. They freed him from the Batman Revenge Squad in return. Soon after, Batmanicus was sent into the far future to aid in the destruction of an Equinox fragment. The Brave and the Bold, Pirate Batman. In order to terrorize evil and preserve the safety of the Seven Seas, a man took on the Sea Devil persona of Pirate Batman in the 18th century. He came to be known as Pirate Batman. Pirate Batman was about to be killed when a member of the Batman Revenge Squad conjured a sea monster, but Booster Gold and Blue Beetle intervened to save him. Later, he was transported to the far future to battle an Equinox fragment. The Brave and the Bold, Batman of 8000 AD. One of the numerous Batmen from around the multiverse that helped Batman in his battle with Owlman is the Batman of 8000 AD. An evolution beam from a deceased Kryptonian scientist machine altered Batman. He gained superhuman mental abilities. He battled the Brain in an epic psychic duel after being enlisted by another Batman to defeat Owlman. The Brain was briefly distracted by Plastic Man, which allowed Batman to deliver the killing psychic punch.
Heard you needed some help. Would have been here sooner, but wormholes are tricky business.
The Brave and the Bold, Nighthawk. The Justice Riders were a group of outstanding people who were chosen to serve as marshals on Earth-18. They were tasked with taming the 19th century Wild West. In the Wild West, Bruce Wayne was an itinerant repairman who charged for his services. He frequently came upon riddles that needed to be solved and put on the Nighthawk mask. He abstained from using a pistol out of respect for his parents' killings, unlike a cowboy of the era. He substituted that with the lasso and batarangs instead. He helped the main Earth Batman in his battle against Owlman. The Brave and the Bold, Solar Batman. Solar Batman, one of the numerous Batmen from around the multiverse, helped the main Earth Batman in his battle against Owlman. This Batman developed a cutting-edge fighting armor with advanced technology from Wayne Corps that could produce blinding light and give him the power of flight.
Oh, wait, let's go! Pop the skyscraper! Hoo-ha! Wait!
The Brave and the Bold, Bat Manga. This Batman is from a Gotham city that is more influenced by the Asian culture. He first appeared in the episode Batmite Presents Batman's Strangest Cases. He has the same origin as Batman, but his rogues gallery consists of different villains. The Brave and the Bold, Batboy. Batboy is a dwindled Dark Knight who fought crime in Cosmopolis City with the help of his sidekick Rubin. He's perhaps the most unusual and interesting iteration of Batman. He's actually a vampire. He fed on criminals' blood by punching holes in their toes and drinking their blood. In his utility belt, he kept unusual fighting items such as deodorants, secret gas that made villains friendly and let them turn themselves in, and various other humorous items.
Yeah!
Epilogue. That ends our list for today, my Robins. But while we were learning about all these Batmen, many new versions of Batman were introduced into the DC Metaverse. They're getting created while we think about it. Rest assured, our Bat family will gather all the news across the Metaverse and let you guys know of any new Batman that pops up to save Gotham. Let us know your thoughts in the comments section. Keep liking, sharing, and subscribing. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone. Until we meet again. Same Bat time, same Bat channel.
His verdict with Batwing covered fists descending from the